It is 6 o'clock from the Superbook.com sports desk. I'm Jonathan Schaefer. Veterans report to St. Thomas Sports Park today to mark the start of Titans training camp. Mike Vrabel, John Robinson, and VP of Player Personnel Ryan Cowden will meet with the media at 11:30 today. You can hear that press conference during the Buck Reising show. Major League Baseball, Phillies defeated the Braves 6-4. The Phils scored 3 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning to rally for the win. Atlanta has dropped 2 in a row. And 5-star small forward Justin Edwards announced his commitment to Kentucky on Monday, becoming UK's second 5-star pledge in the 2023 class. Edwards chose the Wildcats over Tennessee. For your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? Welcome in, J. Mart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. The date on the calendar is Tuesday, July 26th. That matters because there were now 0 sleeps. There's a presser today and in training camp. Football is so close to being played. Woo! Ramon's back. The show is on Twitter at J. Mart and Ramon. Jonathan Schaefer, of course, completing our trifecta. I'm Jason Martin. Yesterday was a different show. We appreciate everybody and the way that way all of you came yesterday in whatever version, whatever way you needed to. And we appreciate everybody that made time for us yesterday and those that came on. And there was just great content all day long. When we have Boclair on, who we will have on at 7:20, look, he was his neighbor. Wow. So we'll be able to talk a lot to him, obviously, about his friend Mark Howard. Buck Reising is going to join us, get us all set for training camp. Ron Slay will be here on this Tuesday. And 4 opportunities today, 2 tomorrow, 2 Thursday, and 2 Friday to go to SummerSlam with us. Not just go to SummerSlam with us on Saturday. And now we can tell you, we got some guests.
Yep.
Tomorrow on the program,
Rack 'em.
Paul Heyman joins us at the top of the 4th hour of the program. And then Thursday, Seth freaking Rollins coming on the program. So those are going to be some fun conversations, to say the least, over the next couple of days. WWE is in town. Yes. Apparently they're bringing the bus over here Friday right after the show to do some merch and just hang out with us and stuff. Yeah.
Wake up, Schaefer.
So we'll do some giveaways. We were going to do trivia. I forgot to I'll come up with some trivia. I can do some things.
Yeah, that's light work for you, Jay.
I can do it without even looking at it.
So she said, light work right there.
I heard that.
I did too. I'm just going to let it slide.
Phrasing.
Say it again.
Phrasing.
Okay.
Phrasing.
So glad to be back, Jay. Y'all,
I know.
I know I got flack because I got tweets about it, okay, from being away. But let me tell y'all, okay?
Hold on. Yesterday was called J Mart and Alone instead of J Mart and Alone.
And look, Thursday and Friday it was me and Bullock. I was probably annoying the hell out of Bullock during breaks talking about coffee.
Or you leaned into it.
Of course.
Well, since I got you here, sir.
It's like, now I've got a captive audience.
Let me talk about our Lord and Savior. No.
Yeah.
Pretty much as I had a coffee
Our Lord and Savior, the coffee bean.
The coffee bean, man. It gets us through mornings and evenings. Let me tell y'all, Gulf Shores, Alabama is pretty much Florida, all right? We had a baseball tournament, and I'll just say this out loud. Thank God baseball season is done for us right now. You want to talk about ripping and running. That's what they're ripping and running. That's all we've been doing. This last one was the most atrocious one of them all, man. Of course, because it's basically Florida, as I said, so you get random weather. We'd have a game at 8:30. So we're up at 6. So I didn't get zero opportunity to sleep in, okay? Zero. We get over to the park and they say, yeah, we got a 30-minute delay. We start the game at 10:30. One day we started the game at 10 when it was supposed to start at 8:30, and then we had another game at 1. Mind you, right after that, my youngest was down there for a tournament too. He had a game at 4 and at 6. And when we went over to his field, those games were delayed about 30 minutes to 45 minutes to an hour. So we didn't get home until like 9:15, almost 10 o'clock the night before. The first time ever basically being in the Panhandle /30 AJ and had, I called you AJ. 30A. And Jay, we didn't try any local spots. We had this barbecue spot this one time. You're done? I know.
Playing the catch. CO in Philly.
That's what Jay just gonna leave up out of the studio at this point in time, man. Listen, this baseball season right here was by far the longest, man. But as Jay walks back into the studio, don't be this way, man.
Fly, Eagles, fly.
Oh, that's what we're doing. Because
I had to plane to catch the Philly.
You pay. You're okay. You're in rare form this morning, I see. The AJ. Didn't mean to drop that name right now, okay? Super teams. But the kids had awesome weekends, though, Jay. I've tanned, I've dehydrated, I've salted myself up. There's a lot that I'm just like, break. And I'm cool with that right now, man. Kid had a grand slam this weekend, had like 4 home runs, pitched a complete game. This is my oldest. And when they went into extra innings, had bases loaded, 1 out, and he gave up no runs. They batted last, so they ended up winning the game, man. Shout out to little J.J. Roach. He hit a monster hit. But also I was telling you, I saw a kid blow his arm out this weekend.
Yeah, I don't want to hear. I hate that for a kid. A kid should not be blowing his arm
13, 14, man. Like, I see why parents, like, don't bulldozer your kid. Don't helicopter your kids. But in baseball, if you got a kid that pitches, hey, you got to be on top of it. And what's wild, this kid didn't throw a bunch of pitches over the weekend, and he was throwing about 75, 76, 78 miles per hour. And what's wild is before he blew his arm out, and I hate to keep saying that, but parents, watch your kids with these coaches sometimes. The mom was over by their dugout and said, Coach, stop throwing so many curveballs. And guess what happened 2 pitches later? The kid throws one. No, the coach says to the mom, hey, I'm the coach. I know what I'm doing. The kid throws a pitch 2 pitches later, curveball. And the kid bends down, grabbing his arm. He goes over to the friggin' dugout, man, was like, I can't feel my arm. Now, maybe this is Tommy John. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's something to deal with his growth plates. But at 13, 14 years old, and this kid is a stud too, by the way, Jay, that's not a good look, man. Especially when mom was telling you, stop, throw straight with him. And this kid whipping his arm, and it was that was a tough scene on the field, man, especially when the mom warned the coach to stop throwing so many curveballs. It is what it is, man. That sucks, though. I hate that for that
Problem
kid.
is that the coach doesn't have to worry about what's going to happen to the kid later. Coach is just trying to win a game that's honestly meaningless.
It was, Jay. If we can be honest, at 13, 14, it was meaningless in the grand scheme of things, Jay. Oh, my gosh. And to your point, that's what happens with those types of coaches. And that's not all of them. Those types of coaches is they'll have tryouts with a new crop of kids, Jay, and they'll do the same exact thing with the next kid. And they'll brag about, well, no, I've never done any. This is why people go hard at baseball coaches sometimes, not just in general. You got stupid coaches everywhere. That was a stupid move by that coach right there, man. And now this kid potentially has to have Tommy John surgery at 14. That's rough, man. But all in all, baseball shut down for a little while until fall season pick up, and that'll be more local this time. So we're here now.
That's better. I mean, you've traveled a lot, but I'm glad it was a good time, and I'm glad that you played well.
You know who's over it, though? Zeus.
I'll bet. He's probably just staring at his watch when you come back like, you're not going anywhere else.
He didn't even I knew he was my dog Zeus, he was so ticked off last night. When he walked in the house, he gave me one of them. and just kept going. I was like, dog.
I've grown used to you not being here.
I'm like a deadbeat dad to my dog out here now. He's seen the kennel so much, he's like, well, it's time to go again.
Oh, we actually have a clip from him when he saw you when you came home.
believe you remote fostered.
I like your because I know what a dog. I know how that is. Dog just kind of looks over at you disdainfully, almost like because basically he's like this over here.
No, for real. He hit me, and we don't want to send him to the kennel, Jay, but like 4 or 5 days at a time. And I know he's over it because when he come home, if you ever send Margot to the kennel yet?
No, haven't had to do that.
Oh,
no.
Jay, listen to me. You want to talk about complete chaos? I'm talking about you'd go drop your dog off you, and I know that I shouldn't make that barking noise like that, but I know. I know all they do is bark all night long. I'll be real. Zeus is a sophisticated dog. When it's time to go to bed, he walks to his area and just lay down to go to sleep. I know they're keeping him up all night long. And I guarantee you that's why he gave me the and just kept walking by me. He was like, man, you just ruined my sleep pattern. I wake up this morning and leave out of the house. He doesn't move. So he's probably going to sleep for like the next 3-4 days. Like he going to eat, lay down on a cool floor and just sleep, Jay. It's, whew. I would hate me too, is all I'm telling you.
Adam says, no kennel, went on vacation in June, came back to my dog having kennel cough for 3 weeks.
Huh?
It's like sending your kid to daycare.
That's going to be Zeus later this evening. Like, I didn't.
That sounded like an angry basset hound. You could hear some jowls slapping right there.
Phrasing.
Hit that again, Shay. That was good.
Phrasing.
Listen for the jowls when we play that audio again. We don't have enough jowls in this day and age. Here it comes.
But the loose jowls.
That's hooch right there.
Yeah.
Those of you just tuning in, we're back.
But that was I didn't rub him not one time yesterday. That's how I knew he was
Phrasing.
mad. My dog phrasing. But Zeus, he's legitimately pissed at me right now. I'll be real with you.
It's all right.
And I know it. I gotta get him some treats or something, some wet food or something.
I gave Margo dog ice cream last night.
Hold up.
Dogsters.
Dog ice cream?
Yeah. You
Where
can get it
you
at
get it
Kroger
from?
now. It's like 4-pack just in the ice cream section. There's dog ice cream now.
What?
It's called Dogsters. It was bacon and cheese. I'm like, bacon and cheese ice cream. I got to say, that might be all right.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like four little cups.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then you just kind of hold it there, and they.
Well, people do that with the whipped cream from like Starbucks.
Yeah,
and stuff.
I did. Yeah, puppuccinos.
Yeah. I did not know that.
Yeah, there's dog treat ice cream.
I do not want to pick that up by mistake. That would throw me off.
Might be good. 615-737-1045. Your first chance to win tickets to hang out with us at SummerSlam coming up at the end of this hour. We're going to do it every hour today. So plenty of opportunities for that. 615-737-1045. When we come back, the Tennessee Titans want you to know Traylon Burks is in shape. How do we know it? Because Diana Rossini said it. We'll tell you when we come back. It's Jay Martin, Ramon, 1045 The Zone. Rents continuing to rise at the fastest pace in decades. The average increase, you've heard me say this for a couple months now, 21% in Nashville year over year. So why are you paying a landlord's mortgage when you can pay your own? Make this the year you start building equity and invest in your own financial future. Talk to the experts, my friends over at Mortgage Investors Group, to help you get started on your path to home ownership. As a Southeast leading mortgage lender, Mortgage Investors Group here to help you get the right home loan, and that's key. Their team of mortgage experts care. They're committed to helping you close on time, structure your loan the best way, help make your home buying goals a reality. See what the customers have to say. Go to Zillow. Over 2,600 reviews will tell you about the MIG difference. Get everything you need over at migonline.com. Go to the website, and you can find the office nearest you. Again, that's migonline.com. or text 3 simple letters, MIG. That's MIG to 31399 to get pre-qualified. Mortgage Investors Group, the right home loan, equal housing lender, license number 109111. Welcome back. J Mart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Diana Rossini went on the Athletic Football Show, said, I've heard he's in shape. I've heard he's lost weight. I've heard there's been so much growth already. And this is from an organization that doesn't like to share. They may not, but they don't mind talking to you, especially when they want something out there. Which, look, that's good. It doesn't matter what they say. It matters what he looks like and how he plays.
Yep.
But, all right, cool. I hope that's the case.
The fact that she said it on what was it, the Athletic podcast, kind of let you know, all right, go ahead and get ahead of this. This kid's going to be all right. And
yeah.
How do I know? Because somebody told me, Jess, you just said. And no knock on her. Heck, if she's an insider.
Everybody's got their own insiders, and they have people that they talk to.
Yeah.
Well, Rossini's got an in with the Titans, and she basically speaks for them in public quite a lot.
Yeah, and again, this is one thing I've always kind of noticed a little bit too is every team has that guy that's talking. Like, they legitimately does, and you think it's probably a player. No. It's probably a coach. And I'm not saying it's directly Vrabel or the head coach of every team.
I am.
But
on this one, I am.
But the coordinators talk. The position coaches, they talk. These people like Jeremy Fowler doesn't become an ESPN guy, one of the main guys, just by being around. No, you better know somebody inside of those team meeting rooms that are going to give you some intel. And I've learned over my years in the league that happens a whole lot more often than you give it credit for. Either it's a quarterback dropping something, a position coach dropping something, a head coach potentially even GM front office guys. They do it, the scouts. Everybody wants to talk and be the person of what? Well, don't say I told you, but it happens a lot, man. And that's a part of the game. What is it? Loose lips sink ships. Mm-hmm. This is just a whole part of it. This happens. But good for Traylon, though. I'll say that. You know, he's got some good press out of nowhere right before camp. I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to look like. Also,
we all are.
Yeah, I'm
rooting
very
for
much.
him. Want to see him in shape. Want to see him in a spot where all the headlines can start being positive.
I'm laughing at Cable's in the chat. Burks better be in shape.
Yeah, he wasn't happy about that whole Sam Pittman audio
No.
from last week. We talked a lot about that in your absence.
When he was talking, Pittman, I heard it. I was just like, do you know what you're saying right now? Because if Titans Twitter hear this, they're going to go crazy. Maybe it wasn't allergies. Maybe he was just out of shape, Jay. Like, that's supposed to be your most in shape you're gonna be as a pro is coming out as a young rookie training for the combine. Like, you're training every single day. You leave college already with a nice platform. Okay, well, I'm good. And then you realize, well, there's better ways for me to eat. They got different trainers. I can do this all day and not go to class. And he wasn't in shape. I'm going almost with what Sam Pittman had to say. He said he never had allergies at Arkansas. Never. Yeah, that seemed to me, well, if I can throw out there something medical, then everybody will shut the heck up. And nobody did as far as Traylon Burks goes. It's all right to just say, look, I'm a little out of shape, man. I got about 6-7 weeks to get to where I want to go, and I can do that. I think he can and should show up in shape. But that's a hard take when your former college coach says, well, he did the same thing in college.
Yeah.
That's pretty tough, Jay.
Yeah, look, it was tough, and I tried to think – maybe Pittman is basically saying, because he said he's going to be fine, all this other kind of stuff. In effect, he's like, yeah, he showed up out of shape, and then he was drafted in the first round. He showed up out of shape, and then he was all world for us. Like, he's going to be all right.
Yeah.
He probably showed up out of shape. He's got to get in shape, but it's like, he did it here.
Yeah.
He can do it again. I kind of tried to look at it as that's maybe why Pittman said too much, quote unquote, because in effect, really, he didn't think it was that big a deal.
Yeah,
like it was almost just kind of like, yeah, I figure he showed up out of shape. He showed up out of shape here. It's gonna be fine. Like, some people are wired differently.
Yeah,
but it was very. I said this to Schaefer and to Bullock last week. It was just kind of like, it's just Pittman doesn't realize the narrative surrounding his guy.
He doesn't.
Because I bet you he's not following Nashville sports media all that tightly these days. Figure he's got other things that he's worried about.
Yep.
He doesn't understand how much damage that comment could do to his guy because of what's already happened since the draft.
No doubt about it, man. And to him, for a college coach like that, Jay, they got 90 scholarship guys, at least 85, and then they got maybe 30 more practice squad kids. They got a whole staff full of people on the coaching staff that are actual coaches, and they got a whole staff full of weight room and nutrition people too. Like, those type of issues, Sam Pittman probably didn't handle face-to-face. They had a coach. If Traylon was out of shape, hey, Coach Z on the strength and conditioning staff, you got Traylon, get him in shape. And that was probably all of it. He get updates from the head strength and conditioning coach like, hey, how's Traylon coming along? Coach, he's doing good, man. We got him on a regimen. Lo and behold, this guy's working out probably 2 times a day. He's probably doing extra reps. There are no coaches like that in the NFL locker room, in the NFL building. They can't devote themselves to him to make sure he get in shape. For a guy like that, if that is the case, he's got to get ahead of this like right now. And I know everybody deals with something in the league, whether they can't learn the playbook, whether they can't control their weight, whether they can't catch the ball, whether they can't stop an inside block. It's always something you're dealing with. Guess who has to find the solution for those type of issues? Yourself. So, Traylon, get ahead of this, man. Make this a non-issue going into the next offseason.
That was what Bullock said.
Yeah.
That's what Bullock said, and that's what Troop said. When Ben Troop was on with us last week, basically both of them said, you got to get this off you as fast as possible. Like, if that's the knock, if that's the label, you've got to get the label off you as soon as possible. And Bullock's like, so I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that that's a non-issue for the remainder of my career, that you're not going to be able to hit me with that. If you can hit me with that off the start and I know about it, then I'm going to do something about it.
Yes, sir. He better I know he won't because he's a rookie, but he better show up today like Willie Beeman after he won the start.
That's right.
I'm talking about shirt out, taco meat showing, and
he just needs to be wearing shoulder pads and nothing else. Just ripped to shreds. Like, now say something.
with some hoochie daddy shorts on.
Some Will Bowling shorts?
Yeah, some Will Bowlings, man. He needs to have that. He needs to show all his VMOs, his quads, the hamstrings, like taco meat with 5 chains on. That's the way he needs to show up today. It's like, what y'all say? Hey, Coach Pittman, I heard you.
Speaking of knocks. And speaking of regimens,
come on,
Kyler Murray. This story.
Go ahead, man. Lay it out for him, Jay.
Kyler Murray has a clause in his contract that says in order to stay compliant with his deal, he has to have verified 4-hour independent film study weekly.
What you're saying is supervised study hall.
Pretty much. According to the contract, Murray, this is from ESPN, Murray will need to study material provided to him by the club in order to prepare for the club's next upcoming game. He'll receive credit for completing his film study, according to the contract. The addendum states the time Murray spends in mandatory meeting studying does not count, and he also won't receive credit if he does not personally study the provided material in good faith. This is the part where I'm like, really?
Come on,
the addendum also states Murray will not get credit if he's not studying or watching the material while it plays on his tablet, or if he's doing something that can distract him or draw his attention, such as playing video games, watching TV, or browsing the internet. Now, we all know, right? When we have to do in this building, we have to do the EAS training.
Yeah.
The FCC training. But whenever you have to do your onboard, like yearly training regimens or whatever, where you have to go log in, and it's like you can't click through this. You have to watch the entire video.
Yeah, man.
Everybody knows you've got the phone out. And you're playing Doodle Jump, or you're doing something, and you're just rolling through it because it's the same thing year after year after year. They're going to get Kyler, apparently, if he tries that. Like, if he goes to Fortnite or 2K22 or FIFA 23
or
Netflix and tries to watch Stranger Things, that's going to dog him out. And it says failure to meet the addendum's requirements will mean Murray will be deemed to be in default of his contract per the wording in the agreement. This is either unusual or unprecedented in a contract with a clause requiring a player to study more.
Yeah. So I'm in a group chat with some of my guys. I played ball at UT. Some went to the NFL, and some
did.
Yeah. So, I did. And some of the stuff that was said was was this about him. Some of these guys are pros. They said they're basically saying he don't prep well.
Right.
That was one of them. Somebody said clauses are normal, but this one in particular, no, never heard of it. And this was another one from a guy in the chat. Honestly, you can tell by his play, he was just out there running around.
That's the thing, right?
This is from guys around it. Here's another one. These type of dudes don't last long.
Well, this is the guy who had all the talent, right? He comes out of high school, can't do anything wrong.
Biggest school in Texas.
Wins the Heisman Trophy.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's come easy to him because he's a natural athlete. He was drafted in the first round by the A's.
Yeah.
Not that he hasn't had to work hard, but he has a lot of natural gifts. Clearly has a lot of tangible skill, all of those kinds of things. Now he's run into a league where they're like, look, we know how talented you are, but this draw it up in the dirt stuff got to stop happening.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be the leader of this team, then you've got to prep. You can't just show up. We talked about Mark Howard yesterday with all the meticulous notes.
Yeah.
How many trees he took out because of how much he printed out on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And Kyler apparently does the opposite because Kyler has been able to rely on his athleticism his entire life. And they're like, hey, NFL's caught up to you, bro. Like, we need you to know what the defense is actually doing as opposed to playing backyard football on Thanksgiving.
There's only so much of that you can do. Like, I wrote in our chat, it's like, time with the coaches don't count either. That's the thing about, how tedious and how long and just how tiring coaching sessions, like film session is with coaches. We call it the blue light session, Jay, where it's just like stare at the blue light. Yep, seen this clip already earlier on Monday. Saw this clip on Wednesday. Saw this one at home. Like, it's non-stop film. Like, the longest amount of time you spend at the facility is probably watching film for any team. I'm talking about clip after clip, Jay, game after game, third down reel, 1st and 10 reel, short yardage reel. I'm talking about red zone reel. I'm talking about tight reds, every reel you can think of. You watch all of that and still go home and watch it. Most pros do. They're mandating him that he has to go do this. What you did in college, to your point, Jay, that ain't enough. Mm-hmm. This ain't 19, 20, 21-year-olds anymore. You got a dude, Tyrann Mathieu, that's been over here for 9 years, an all-pro, Super Bowl champ, big-time defender. You think he's not studying you? So when I said, even the time with the coaches don't matter, somebody, well-respected former NFL player said, that's Jamarcus Russell type of stuff.
Well, here's the thing. How does this get out? This is an addendum in a contract. A source confirmed it to NFL Network and ESPN, a source who has seen the contract. How does a professional football organization, a business of that stature, let this get out unless they wanted it out?
You remember all those games that Kyler and his people were playing with the Cardinals before this deal?
What are you talking about?
You know what the Cardinals said?
What?
Y'all petty as hell.
Yeah. Scrubbing of the social media.
Cliff and Kyler have the same agent. So basically the Cardinals went to Kyler and said, quit bitching.
Yeah.
But you got the bag.
Yeah.
What's stunning is they paid him
Stunning.
because he was next in line. No. They paid him all of his money and then basically said, all the stuff you've done kind of almost made us not want to pay you. It's like, you can't pay somebody this kind of money if you're also worried about whether or not they prepare at all for games.
Preparing. We're talking about preparing for the game, Jay.
Well, listen, I mean, I asked Bullock last week. I was like, so Blaine had always mentioned, and I think some others I had heard through the years that said there were 2 playbooks defensively.
Yeah.
There was one for the NFL and there was one for Peyton Manning, especially in the South. It's like you knew what it was going to be. And Bullock's like, I mean, that's funny and all. He goes, Peyton never surprised me with anything he did.
Yeah.
It's like, we knew what he was going to do. It's just, could you stop it? All this other kind of stuff. Because he's like, I studied. He's like, I studied.
Yeah.
He studied.
Yeah.
That was a thing for Bullock throughout, his career and all of this. You think about, there was that story a few years ago where Rob Gronkowski said, I never watched tape. But then people came from behind him and were like, that's a lie.
That's a lie, Rob.
It's part of the aura of Gronk. But Gronk was one of the smartest guys at the University of Arizona and knew exactly what he was doing. This right here is the team going public to say, You're immature.
Yep.
You're not a leader. Get it together. We're paying you because of your ability, but you will not last, and we're going to find a way out of this if you screw us.
And it goes down to, man, like, everybody is searching for the guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, the year before they got Kyler Murray, they ended up Josh Rosen, right? He was a year before him.
Mm-hmm.
And just, I'm thinking to myself.
I mean, Browns quarterback Josh Rosen?
Well, the Browns are the reason they made this type of deal, too. But you put yourself in a position to say, well, I'm gonna throw baseball to the side for a little while, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to submit myself to the game. And then you come in. I get it as a rookie quarterback. You're trying to find yourself. You're a little undersized, so let me use my natural talents. That's one thing we spoke about, honestly, with Lamar a little bit too. Heck, we spoke about this with Josh Allen. Like, Josh, you got a friggin' rifle. I'm talking about a 50 caliber, but you got to learn how to finesse this, okay? Then he does that. Now he's a better quarterback. Justin Herbert, same thing. Hey, man, look, you can only go so far with what you're doing. You better get to these playoffs and figure out what's next for you. Like, the growth factor of being in the NFL is for everybody, but specifically for the friggin' quarterback, Jay. Like, why is that position so important? Why did they go ahead and pay him? If this was an offensive tackle, a running back, a wide receiver, they'd have probably just pushed him to the side. But everybody is searching for that guy, and I'm talking about yearning for a guy of this caliber that can at least keep you in games and make plays for you. And they got to put in clauses for your study time because, look, if you remember, we heard this. I told you guys this over a year ago.
Nearly 2 years ago.
Nearly 2 years ago, man. I heard Kyler was one of the last ones in, first one out.
Yep.
This was told to me almost 2 years ago now. And now last offseason, we heard the same thing. Kyler Murray doesn't really like to be in the building. He's not a great leader. All those things came out. And I know a lot of people say, well, he doesn't have to be a great leader. You're the doggone quarterback, man. At every level, that position holds the most weight from high school to college to the NFL. It holds, heck, in little league football, man, or flag football, it holds the most weight. You're holding the ball every single play. Like,
here's the thing. One thing I have heard speculated about, and I think there's some truth to this. You can kind of do this in baseball.
Just wing it.
No, I mean, you can just be you.
Yeah.
It's more of an individual sport. If you want to not really associate with a team, you can.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be better if you're team oriented. There's a lot of jerks in baseball just hang out by themselves and go out and hit 400, right?
Yeah.
Or hit three. Well, not 400, but hit 350 and knock in 40 home runs and do all that kind of stuff. It's more of an individual sport in that way. Football, you can't get away with those things. So Kyler, back on December the 23rd, said, the only way I read this is, here's his problem. It's not immaturity, it's arrogant immaturity.
Yeah.
He said, I think I was just blessed with the cognitive skills to just go out there and just see it before it happens. I'm not one of those guys that's going to sit there and kill myself watching film. I don't sit there for 24 hours and break down this team and that team and watch every game because in my head, I see so much. This is Will Ferrell and Norm Macdonald on Celebrity Jeopardy. It's a hat. It's too big for my head. It's funny. Yeah. No, it's not. Sure it is. No, it's not. They're telling you with this clause, no, you don't see so much.
No, you don't.
And we're tired of it. That's what they're saying.
The play breakdowns is because you hadn't processed it. You hadn't seen it on film. There's somebody open over there, Kyler, and you chose to run and flush, and now we got 40-plus sacks on the season. You know, I know a guy that was very instinctive like that, Troy Polamalu, Jay. On the field, he just see it and go. Like, I think he naturally did have that. But I know this. Troy studied film like a friggin' just in all the time. Like, when you have both of those things match up, like, I believe in instinct. I believe in that skill set, Jay. Like, man, that guy how did you even land like that? You know, you see people, I don't even know how he made that move. But when you also become a pro about it, that's when you have guys flying over piles and make tackles and stuff like that because they've seen this before, man. Boy, I've never seen. It's almost embarrassing. It really is. And I think it's specifically because it's the quarterback position, too. You got a lot of stuff going on at the quarterback position here in Tennessee, but you don't have that.
615-737-1045. We'll get to Eric in Nashville's calling us when we come back. We're doing a giveaway when we come back. All right. First opportunity to win a pair of tickets to SummerSlam and hang out with us at Nissan Stadium on Saturday night. We do that right when we come back. It's Jay Martin, Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Hey, so Lee Company was out at the house yesterday because Sunday we had no power in the living room. We had no power in half of the kitchen and no power in half of the master bedroom. So Matt Porter at Lee Company came out yesterday. He's an electrician. He came out, he got it done. It's something we never could have figured out on our own. We did all the stuff you would expect, checking the breakers, checking the GFCI. But no, this was a random outlet halfway across a different room that had gone wrong and caused all of these other issues. So Matt Porter got the job done for us, and we appreciate that. Know what else? He was on his way from being at our house to go to the hospital to see the birth of his grandchild. It was his 9th grandchild, apparently. And he said, this is the last one for my daughters. I'm like, well, 9, that's a good bit. So first off, congratulations. Hopefully that, ended up happening yesterday. But Matt was great. He was in the house for 20, 30 minutes, got it taken care of. Power was on. Claire Grace was smiling again because Don Quixote and Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood were on TV in the living room where she could enjoy them yesterday. Lee Company just gets everything right. I had to, call them on Sunday because we had the issue. Monday afternoon, bam, taken care of, done. You can just flat out trust them. And you can trust them to send you an expert that knows what they're doing, that can tell you what's going on. Get it done quickly and with no fuss. 615-567-1000. Do exactly what I did on Sunday. 567-1000. They just get it taken care of. It's Lee Company. All you need. One of my favorite themes of all time, the original SummerSlam theme from 88, 89, 90. I used to dance to this in my living room.
Hey, now. Matt, you getting down. Did you have on like some corduroy pants too?
Zubaz.
Right now, 615-737-1045. Fifth caller's going to SummerSlam with us with a pair of tickets, Saturday, Nissan Stadium. Obviously, I would tell you what the main event is, but I don't know yet. We need to make sure. Because after the news on Friday with Vince, Brock stormed out of SmackDown and said he won't be back if Vince is gone. So we got to figure out what's going on there. My guess is he's trying to get a little bit more money. Maybe Heyman will tell us.
This is your first.
I doubt it.
This is your
I don't
first.
think I'm going to ask him that question, but.
Choose violence, Jay.
Yeah. So fifth caller. And we already have 5. Just so you know. There'll be 3 more opportunities throughout the show. Let's go to Eric in Nashville to chat, though. Eric, what's up?
What's up, E?
Yeah, I have to call back next hour because yeah, but Leslie did come back at the end of the show, so and beat the crap out of Austin Theory. So
yeah.
Anyway, guy, you talk about Kyler Murray. This is Vince Young 2.0, guys. I tell you what. Yeah, that's what I told Shane when I was calling in before I got on the air, guys. I tell you what, it just goes to prove, and one of the reasons I was struggling trying to pay this guy, even though people said they had to. I didn't trust the guy. I said I wouldn't have paid the money, and it's sad when stuff like that comes out, guys. I tell you what, and it's not helped by the fact that, of course, they're going to be without DeAndre Hopkins, with the PED suspension. And plus, you probably saw their first 3 games against Kansas City, the Rams, and the Raiders. There's a possibility they won't get off their hot start. Instead of, being undefeated, they could be 0-3. You just cannot show up and play. You've got to do the things, the preparation, study, prepare to play. And, guys, I'm just afraid he's going to wind up washing out of the league. Maybe somebody else might have taken a chance on him. I don't know. But it's just you kind of feel with all the situations you described what they did with Josh Rosen and now this, it's just, I just don't know what to say. It just leaves you speechless. Guys, y'all take care. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Hope you get those tickets later, too.
I mean, clearly he has a lot of talent. We know this. I mean, some people have him in the top 10. I have him outside the top 10, but not like too deep outside of that. The biggest thing is if he can become a leader and you add to it what he has from a skill perspective, if he were able to actually take this step, take this contract and use it, and use this addendum to this contract and actually take it seriously, I mean, he could be incredibly dangerous. Yeah. I think that's in effect what they're saying is, we know you're pretty good, but what you're doing is the bare minimum. Yeah. If you do a little bit more, like that's how you become elite. And then the question is, well, does he want to be elite? Some dudes just want to get paid and play the game. Yeah.
And he has another option too. And I don't know if baseball is really his thing. Like taking that much time off of it is kind of just you got to be in that sport all the time. And I don't know if he's training with it in the off season as far as staying sharp to go back to the Oakland A's. But I'll just drop this little nugget too for a guy like Kyler Murray, man. For the athletic dual style quarterback, the runner, the black quarterback, I'll just say this too, man. Kyler, you're doing those guys a disservice. I'll just say this, and I know this is just this. We're talking locally here, and I say this on a national program too, if given an opportunity. This is why the black quarterback gets knocked a little bit too, because you rely a little bit too much on your athletic ability as far as trying to grow. And I hate that for those young guys. And there's a lot of talented kids coming out right now that are playing a position, not just young black athletic quarterbacks, but you have white ones too, like the kid from Martin. He's really good. Arch Manning is a runner too a little bit. You got guys like Baker that get outside of the pocket. For those guys that are trying to create this niche in the NFL and in college, like being a dual style quarterback, this ruins it because all the coaches are going to say they're always going to revert back to their athletic ability. They're always going to do this type of stuff when it comes down to them being a pro or being a playmaker or being a player in the league. It sucks for those guys that are dual threat quarterbacks, not just the black ones either, but the white quarterbacks or the multicultural quarterback, multinational quarterbacks. Like, you can't do that type of stuff because this is what happens, man. You play the game for yourself, but also for the future generations too. That just sucks. And that's one of the first things I thought of when I saw that Kyler Murray didn't study the game like that. Like, take the profession seriously. I've always been of the mindset if you don't like the system, sometimes you got to play along with the system until you change the system. And that's where he himself has not helped out that cause. You know what I'm saying? And again, as Eric just brought that up, what was one of the things that was spoke about EY? Like, VY, Vince Young, like he was a guy that didn't grow in the sport to be a better pro, and you get washed out because of it. Deshaun, different. I know his off the field stuff is one thing, but as far as growth on the field, he's done what you need him to. Jalen Hurts is another one that's done what you needed him to. Heck, I'd even go as far as just saying, look at Aaron Rodgers. He's a dual threat quarterback, in my opinion, able to run the ball and get outside the pocket. You got to help those guys make this a norm in the league to where coaches don't feel afraid of, man, he's just going to run outside the pocket. That sucks as far as you being a guy that's supposed to be a curator of the sport to open up those doors, man. So that's my spiel on it, too.
Hour 2 straight ahead, 615-737-1045. Congrats to Tim Nunley of Clarksville, who'll be hanging out with us Saturday at SummerSlam. 3 more opportunities today and then some more opportunities throughout the week. To be with us on Saturday evening. Looking forward to that. 615-737-1045. Mike Sando, we've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for this for weeks. I knew we hadn't seen it yet. It's the one list that hadn't come out yet. The big one, right? Other than the Fowler lists.
Yeah.
It's the quarterback tiers list that generates the most discussion amongst NFL circles. Where does Ryan Tannehill find himself after last year? There is one quote from one coach that, unfortunately, if you put Ryan Tannehill in the dictionary, this would be the definition afterwards. I'll read it to you after the headlines on 104.5 The Zone.
As leaders in disaster cleanup and restoration, the pros at ServPro are prepared for anything, like when a relief valve on your water heater fails, pouring gallons of water into your finished basement. Guess what? ServPro is prepared for it. Or when an electrical shortage in your office causes extensive smoke and water damage, ServPro is prepared for that too. Or a musty odor indicates you might have a mold problem. Yeah, think about it. ServPro is prepared for it. You need a lot more than help sometimes cleaning up, and that's why ServPro is your one-stop shop when disaster strikes. Not only do they have the equipment and expertise to clean up damage from fire, water, or mold, but they also offer a variety of construction services ranging from drywall patching and document drying all the way to complete structural rebuilds. There's just one call you need to make to bring your home or business back as good as new and as soon as possible. So if you're in need of cleanup from fire, water, or any unpleasant event, ServPro is always ready to help. Call ServPro and the official downtown Nashville operators at 800-ServPro to see how we can help you get back to like it never even happened. The number is 800-SERVPRO. That's ServPro, cleaning, restoration, construction. Franchise are independently owned and operated.
7:02. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. Veterans reporting to St. Thomas Sports Park today. That means Titans training camp starting. Mike Vrabel, John Robinson, VP player personnel head man Ryan Cowden will meet with the media at 11:30 this morning. You can hear that press conference during the Buck Reising show. Major League Baseball from last night, the Phillies defeated the Braves 6-4. The Phils scored 3 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning to rally for the win. Atlanta has dropped 2 in a row. And to college basketball, 5-star small forward Justin Edwards announced his commitment to Kentucky on Monday, becoming UK's second 5-star pledge for the 2023 class. Edwards chose the Wildcats over Tennessee. Wrong Foundation Repair and Waterproofing needs. Visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once. On your Over the Titans and the Vols, this is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? Hour 2, J Mart and Ramon, 104.5 The Zone, lifted up by our friends at All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. Go to allfourseasonsgarages.com to learn all you can. Ramon Foster, Jonathan Schaefer, Jason Martin, at Ramon Foster, at Schaefer on Sports, at J Mart Radio, at J Mart and Ramon. David Boclair will join us in about 15 minutes. We'll talk some training camp and a lot of Mark Howard as well with Bokey. And your next opportunity to join us for SummerSlam Saturday at Nissan Stadium coming up at the end of this hour. You can kind of get a sense that it's going to be at the end of all 4 hours today, so stick around with us. Mike Sando's quarterback tiers piece is always one people pay attention to, and it comes out right before camp usually every year, and it did again. It's 50 NFL coaches and executives. This is the 9th version of this survey. And so, look, without having to sit here and discuss too much, Rodgers is 1, Mahomes is 2, Brady is 3, Josh Allen is 4, Herbert is 5, Burrow is 6, and that's all for Tier 1. Mm-hmm. Tier 2 can carry his team sometimes, not as consistently, can handle pure passing situations in doses, possesses other dimensions special enough to elevate him above Tier 3, has a hole or two in his game. Stafford is 7, Russell Wilson is 8, Deshaun is 9, Lamar is 10, Dak Prescott is 11, Derek Carr is 12, Kyler is 13, Matt Ryan is 14.
And hold up, you got to read that again. And it's, as of lately, too, I've seen a lot of stuff that's still including Deshaun in it also. Yeah. Is that little surprising to you? Like, I think everybody's operating like, yeah, okay, he's going to get not as much as you think.
I mean, he's going to miss some games, but it increasingly feels like he plays before the end of the year.
Yeah, and he's still Tier 2.
My belief is maybe Friday we're going to learn what happened.
This week.
A lot of people thought it was going to be last Friday. Yeah. It turned out the news dump was Tennessee, not Deshaun Watson.
16. There we go.
But this Friday, I think it could be. Anyway, Tier 2, Matthew Stafford. This is a guy that does elevate his team, can carry his team, sometimes not as consistently. Pure passing in doses, possessions, other dimensions. They're special enough to elevate him above Tier 3, hole or two in his game. Stafford 7, Russell Wilson 8, Deshaun 9, which is hilarious. You paid that guy $230 all guaranteed to be 9th in this survey.
Be 1.
Right.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson 10, Dak Prescott 11. I think that's overrated. Derek Carr 12, Kyler 13. Matt Ryan, 14. Tier 3. Tier 3 is a legitimate starter, but needs a heavier running game and or defensive component to win. A lower volume drop back passing offense suits him best.
That sounds just like
you know exactly what it is. And it's the guys you would expect, the ones you always compare him to. Kirk Cousins is 15.
Mm-hmm. Kirk is ahead.
Kirk is 15. Jimmy Garoppolo is 16.
They're about to get rid of Jimmy G, I think.
Ryan Tannehill is 17, and right behind him is Mac Jones.
Oh, Sando. Sando on the line sometime soon?
I mean, he didn't vote.
Ooh, oh, this
This is coaches. This is internal coaches and executives in the NFL. Let's just read what he writes. Tannehill climbed into Tier 2 last season after a steady ascent. We remember this. Only to slip following a one-and-done playoff performance as the AFC's top seed. This quote right here from a coach. If you looked up Ryan Tannehill in the dictionary, you would hate to agree with this, but you know this is what's true. He is probably a 3, maybe a 3+. A coach who overlapped with Tannehill in a previous season said, "My heart broke for him that he played so poorly in that playoff game. He was having such a good year, really 2 years, but I think that's what he is. Unfortunately, in a couple of times they've asked him to be the guy to win the games. He hasn't been able to do it."
Wow. Yeah. That's him. As of late, anyway. And I'll push back just a little bit, Jay, because let's do that a little bit. He had a whole lot of change last year, too, where guys been in and out of the lineup and whatnot. No real guy was consistently there for him, except for NWI. And a lot of people will say, well, yeah, he's your 3 or 4 wide receiver when it comes down to it. Derek missed some time, but they still were the number 1 overall seed. But let's be honest, wasn't directly because of him for the most part, though, right? The defense last year was surprisingly damn good. Like, they held their own a lot of the part of this past season. I hope they do the same thing this year. 17, OJ, behind Jimmy G, behind Matt Ryan, that people said behind Dak.
Well, I mean, I have him behind Matt Ryan. I don't have him behind Jimmy G.
Goodness. And Mac Jones.
I don't have him behind Kirk Cousins either, because he at least gets you to the playoffs.
He's a step ahead of a second-year guy is what you're telling us?
That's the part of it that it's less about the guys that are above him than the fact that he's one step above Mac Jones, who's a second-year quarterback, who they said basically they had to sometimes play around last year. That was part of it, right? Yeah. Let's see, a quarterback's coach. Tannehill relied on the team more than the team relied on him. Because in the moments when he could have brought the team back, especially when they played against Kansas City in the AFC championships, we're going a few years back now, he couldn't make it happen, a QB coach said. I'm still waiting for that defining moment from Ryan Tannehill. It still hasn't happened yet, and that's why he's in Tier 3. He's got Tier 2 potential and talent, but in the big moments, it hasn't translated. What that means is good in the regular season, not good in the playoffs. And now, let's see, who says this? It's another coach, I believe. Yeah, I haven't changed on Tannehill at all. He's doing exactly what he does. He's the AFC version of Kirk Cousins. We have said that a million times. The last 2 years, he has been very successful, very efficient. This is interesting. If you replaced Tannehill with Matt Ryan, would you be as successful? I believe you would. If you replaced him with Kirk Cousins, would you be the same? I think you'd be the same, because those are all good quarterbacks. If you replaced him with some of these other Tier 3 guys, would they be as good? I don't think so. So basically, that guy is suggesting this is an offensive coach. He had Tannehill, Cousins, and Ryan in the second tier and thought that's where the cutoff should have been, as opposed to Tannehill being around Jimmy G, Mac Jones, and all that. Do I think Mac Jones is running this team as well as Ryan Tannehill if he's a quarterback last year? No. Do I think Jimmy G is doing similar things? Yeah, I do. I mean, Jimmy G's gone to a Super Bowl and nearly gone to 2.
Yes. If it's true he had Tom scared, then that's another thing too, what he could have did with Belichick or
and
Josh
I trust
McDaniels.
Tannehill more than and I trust Tannehill more than I trust Kirk Cousins as well. And then the rest of the list in that tier, by the way, Mac is 18, Baker Mayfield is 19, Jalen Hurts is 20. Tied with Carson Wentz. Jared Goff is 22, which is amazing to me because I want Goff over Carson Wentz at this point.
That's
all
what I'm saying.
day.
I would actually push Goff a little bit higher up.
Yeah. Trevor Lawrence, 23. Jameis, 24. And then it goes into Tier 4 from there.
Okay.
So Tannehill last year, I think he was like 12th.
Sheesh.
Somewhere in that neighborhood.
The comment says, from Danny Teep says, it's hard to disagree when a description is spot on.
That's what I said. I know it's tough, but if you looked it up in the dictionary and you saw Ryan Tannehill, it would be he was having such a good year, really 2 years. I hate that he played so poorly in that playoff game, but I think that's what he is. Unfortunately, in a couple of times they've asked him to be the guy to win the games. He hasn't been able to do it. That's the fear. And that's the nagging feeling that always surrounds Ryan Tannehill because you've never seen him do the thing that sometimes you get tricked into believing he can do.
So I've been just asking, what is Tannehill going to be? And Adam in the chat said this. He's already had his defining moment, unfortunately.
And it was that game. I hope that's not true for his sake.
Because I was real close to saying, well, is it all him?
It can't be.
Because these other quarterbacks almost feel like, well, either they're supported, but Tannehill is supported well too, and you got Dak ahead of him. You know what I'm saying? Like, why is Kyler Murray?
Dak is 6 steps ahead of him.
Yeah, Kyler Murray is at tier 2.
Let's just add a little bit of context.
Go
on
ahead,
this
please.
With Ryan, and just remind everyone, he lost Derrick Henry for half the season.
Yeah.
A turnstile offensive line in terms of personnel.
Turnstile receivers, too.
Turnstile with receivers.
And no
you
tight
lost your
ends.
top 2 receivers, and you had a team that ended up going 12-5.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Ryan did not play well last year to his previous standard. That is totally true. He had way too many turnovers, and he'll be the first one to tell you that.
Yeah.
But we have to look at the full picture to where some of the circumstances last year were pretty extreme.
Another picture. And we have had this conversation. You and me had this conversation, Shafe, last week when Ramon was out. We had it in the green room. Todd Downing was garbage last year.
Wasn't as great this year, I don't think.
He
Wasn't good.
He was not good. I've heard people defend that. I'm not saying he didn't have moments. I'm saying that consistently the play calling was low, and it didn't give Ryan Tannehill much.
And the decision making. Let's be honest about that too, Jay. Like even us, from our couch, was saying, run first down, second down, we're gonna go play action. Like, you got to find a way to break that up a little bit. And again, let's go back to the playoff game a little bit. Yeah, Ryan did throw those picks. Yes, he did. But to be neglectful with Deontay Foreman,
Yeah, I mean, that's not on him.
that's a hard decision that you needed to make in that moment. And you've been in an OC position before to know that, look, my management of this offensive roster falls on his back as far as Todd Downing goes. Derek, we love you, man. But look, today, Deontay is the guy. And ain't nothing wrong with saying this. We'll pick up next week because you're still our guy, Derek.
Well, I mean, you also you get to the 20-yard line running the football, and then all of a sudden you start passing, and Mike Hilton takes it away. Like, what are we doing there? There's a lot. There's a lot.
Is.
It's not all on 17, which, by the way, is where he ranks.
But
I don't think they knew that when they were doing it.
Todd,
That's what it is.
Todd does have to own some of that, too. The same way we was on Shane Bowen's neck the year before, and the same way, honestly, it gets a little bit of credit. Jim Schwartz gets
and
a little bit of credit.
Kelly, that's what you want Kelly to do this year, is something similar.
Yep.
When we come back, David Boclair will join us. We're going to talk about the start to camp, obviously, and where Tannehill finds himself in this ranking and all of those things. And also we're going to remember Mark Howard with somebody that knew him and was in this studio with him for hours every single week. And it's going to be a wide-ranging conversation with Boca. You won't want to miss it. It's next here on The Zone. Hey, so I want to talk to you about United Structural Systems. If you've got structural issues, you may not know them, but you might be looking around thinking maybe you do. You got doors and windows sticking, cracks in your bricks, a bowling basement wall, chimneys leaning, all signs of a possible foundation issue with your home. When it comes to foundation repair, United Structural Systems is your only answer because you can actually trust them to tell you what's going on. They come out. First off, they give you a free estimate. So they're going to tell you exactly what is happening. And sometimes that's nothing. Sometimes it's a smaller job than you're expecting. They want to earn your business, and they want their reputation to be something that you talk to about with the people in your life for the rest of your life because they've treated you well. They are problem solvers. They customize solutions depending on your needs. That's why they got an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. They're locally owned, 25 plus years right here in Middle Tennessee. There's nobody else that you should even consider when it comes to structural issues than USS. Over 23,000 satisfied customers and counting can tell you can feel good about calling United Structural Systems, 615-227-2275. That's 227-2275, or visit them online at ussTN.com. United Structural Systems. Welcome back. J Mart and Ramon, 1045 The Zone. Todd Snyder means it's time for David Boclair on the Mark Spain Real Estate Hotline. David, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you guys today?
Pretty good.
morning.
Let's mute my laptop so we're not hearing you twice. Before we get to the obvious and talking about training camp and even Sando and this quarterback tiers ranking that came out yesterday and everything that surrounds that, be remiss not to talk about Mark. I mean, the first time I knew David Boclair's name was you being in this studio for an hour a couple of times a week when I was guest producing for Brandon Haggerty years and years ago. I mean, no offense, but I didn't know your name. Like, because I wasn't from the market. I didn't know, and I didn't read all of the papers in town, but I came to know you as a Matchstick Man. And Mark had a real knack, and that show had a real knack for exposing, and I heard you say this yesterday to Buck, exposing journalists, giving them a different kind of platform with which to grow their reach.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And yeah, you were not the only one who didn't know my name at that time, even though I'd been in the market 14 years or so before I got a regular gig on the Wake Up Zone. And I think Mark did that very intentionally. I told Buck, it was a Johnny Carson-esque quality to him, and that it was his way of calling a comedian over to the couch, and you get that endorsement when you were a regular on the show with him. And he was he was really interesting. I listened to almost the entire show yesterday, and you guys did a great job, and the callers were wonderful and whatnot. Mark was he was fascinating in that when he was on the air, he didn't try to be the big guy. He wanted Kevin and Blaine and Frank to shine just as brightly as he did, but off the air, I think he felt a disproportionate responsibility to make the show good. And I can't speak for those other guys, but my experience with him talking, off the air and whatnot, he was, and I think Brad Willis talked about this yesterday, he was constantly thinking about what to do with the show, and oh my God, we lost a point in the ratings, we got to get it back right now, and obsessing over it in a very real and probably detrimental way at times. I would imagine his stress factor and his mental health probably took a beating at times over the years, because he was so consumed with trying to make the show great, which it certainly was.
Well, look, it's kind of like being a slave to the scale. One of the things that just hit me when I started losing weight was, how about you just get on a scale twice a month, not every day, every 2 weeks, because if you've done the right thing for 2 weeks, then at that point in time, you're probably going to see a number that you like, as opposed to a quarter of a pound here or a pound up the next day. And that messes with your psyche. The other thing with Mark, and everybody said this, was how meticulously he was prepared. Like when I guest hosted with him, he would send me a text message in the afternoon. He's like, here's what I'm thinking about for tomorrow. And the text message was basically a dissertation with like 900 topics on it. And I'm like, no way we're going to get to these. And we would somehow get to like 90% of them, because Mark would find a way to get that minor league baseball story in the final block of the hour.
Yeah, people might remember or not. Mark and I ended up as neighbors, and his house is just almost across the street from me, just down the way. And when he first moved in, he was so proud. He had designed and put together this media room with a huge TV and some comfy chairs, but also a place for his computer and whatnot. And I think at one point early on, he had me over to show it off for I think it was maybe the Mayweather Pacquiao fight. It was a big fight, whatever. He was so proud of it, and it was it was a room that was in the front of his house upstairs, so there was a lot of nights. It was funny. I'd be out walking the dog, and you could see the glow from the TV coming through the windows in there. And of course, Mark's up first thing in the morning, got to be in there. You guys know full well, right? The hours that you keep. I mean, this is 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and you can see the TV. And I would just smile, thinking to myself, Mark's watching a game, or Mark's working on his show prep or whatnot. It was, I mean, he would, you would see that TV going all hours of the day. And then to speak to the type of person Mark was too, he, some family friends or some family members needed a helping hand. He moved them in with him, and he gave up his media room to turn that into a bedroom for somebody else. And that always stuck with me too, that he was so kind in that way.
Yeah, it was kind of amazing. I remember at times he'd be like, "Hey, did you see blah blah blah?" Like, "No, Mark, that was 12:30. We had to be here at 5 a.m. this morning. No, I didn't see it. I'm impressed that you did, and I know you did, but a lot of us get by on highlight packages from the late stuff there, Bokey."
Exactly. And the other thing I want to add is, and I said this on Buck's show yesterday, but I think it's important to say on this show to this audience in particular, so many people talked about Jack and his love for Jack and his devotion to Jack. And I can tell you as a neighbor that Jack is very well known and very popular in this neighborhood, and there are going to be a lot of people looking out for him and the rest of the family here over the next couple weeks and months as he deals with whatever Jack is going to deal with. So he will be well taken care of in that regard.
I'm glad to hear that. He's going to need adults in his life right now to really be there for him, because I know how important his father was to him, just like he was to his father. All right, Ramon.
Well,
okay,
no, I
third
just
and two.
I want to go.
Yeah, exactly. All right, third and two.
Real quick though, because we're in a public job where people hear us every day, some see us every day and stuff like that. Now with social media and everything else, but a lot of stuff that I've heard about Mark, man, is just how he impacted people, how he affected people, and just how important that was to him, and not really recognizing that too. But speak on that real quick too, because I think a lot of us in these positions would kind of, take advantage of the job just because we're there. He seems to have taken it very personal to not just be here, but also be close to people.
Yeah, there's no doubt he was, he was this big teddy bear in some ways, and like I always say, he liked to give gifts too. Like at Christmas time, like Mark and I were colleagues, we were friends, but he was, I have to admit, he's not the kind of person I thought, okay, I got to get Mark a gift, right? And then you show up at the studio one day and he's like, "Here, Merry Christmas," and he'd give you a gift. And a lot of times it was a book, it was a sports book or something. Like one he gave me was a story of the 1980 Philadelphia Phillies, which I grew up in Philadelphia, was a Phillies fan. But I also took that as, a lot of people talked about his encyclopedic knowledge of sports and how prepared he was, and he had information on everything. And I looked at that too as I was thinking about Mark. It's sort of like he's not one of these people who wanted to make sure you knew he was the smartest guy in the room all the time. It was sort of like he wanted you to be as smart as him. He just didn't want to vomit all this information all over you and just say, "There, see, I know more than you." Like, it's like, "Here, you learn as much as you can, and we'll talk about this then, and we'll talk about it on a higher level." And I think that there was something really interesting about him in that way, that because I know he was. That's the thing. Like, I talk about the hours he kept in front of the TV. I know he read all the time too. He read books like constantly, and the guy could talk about darn near any TV show you wanted. Like, I don't know where he got all the time in his day, because he wasn't just watching sports all the time too. He was up on all the most interesting TV shows too.
Yeah. Man, that's interesting. But as you said, we got to transition
Third and
a little bit.
We'll try it again.
Here we go.
But that's such a Mark thing though too, because he's you think about that. There was no BS with Mark, and when Hutton threw that back to him, he had nothing to say, nothing to add, so he didn't try to. He just like, "Oh, okay, let's move on."
Did you hear that, Moan? Did you hear that story?
I didn't hear that one.
I'll tell you about it during the break. We did it at the very end of yesterday's show. It's one of my favorite piece of audio I've ever heard it was Hutton that had it. He played it for me all the time because I wanted to hear it all the time. It's just so funny. Not funny. Ryan Tannehill, number 17. I don't mean his jersey number. I mean his ranking in the coaches, executives piece that Mike Sando put out, his quarterback tiers piece, where he dropped this year. I'm going to read this quote because it just sounds so I've said it a couple times this morning. If you looked up Tannehill in the dictionary, unfortunately, this might be what was next to it.
I know exactly where you're going. I read this thing yesterday afternoon. I know exactly where you're going. Go for it.
My heart broke for him that he played so poorly in that playoff game. He was having such a good year, really 2 years, but I think that's what he is. Unfortunately, and a couple times they've asked him to be the guy to win the games, he hasn't been able to do it. Your thoughts?
That's exactly right. You look at you just look at his playoff numbers, and anytime this guy has been asked to throw the ball 15 times or more in a playoff game, the Titans have lost it, and he hasn't, and even the games that he threw it fewer than 15 times, it wasn't, it wasn't an 11 for 13 Phil Simms type performance, right? I mean, at New England in 2019, he was 8 for 15 for 72 yards, and then at Baltimore, 7 for 14 for 88 yards. It's not like he made the most of the throws he had in those games too. I've said the same thing, particularly since January, that it just feel, and it felt like that from the first throw of that game with Cincinnati. That it's just like, this guy just can't do it. And it reminds me of a way of Tony Romo. Remember when Romo was the backup and the holder for the Cowboys, and they're going to kick that field goal, and it's the perfect snap, and he just dropped the ball. I remember thinking then, like, wow, this guy, if you're gonna make that play in that moment, like, what are you gonna do when you're actually a quarterback? And it turned out, obviously he was a good quarterback, but Romo to me was a guy who, when the game plan worked, he was sensational. When the game plan didn't work, he couldn't figure it out, and then certainly came up small in the postseason. Tannehill is certainly much better than that in terms of he can find ways during the regular season to overcome whatever's not working in the game plan or whatever injuries come up or whatnot. But yeah, I feel the same way that, this is, it's the classic case of maybe he's a guy you can win with, but he's not a guy you're going to win because of at that time of the year.
But Bokey, we had somebody earlier comment. I need to know if this is where you're at. Also said that playoff game was his defining moment. Do you believe that to be true, or can he just claw his way out of this, or where are you at on that type of comment about Ryan Tannehill?
I don't know if I would say it's his defining moment, because he's had so many good moments in the regular season. I mean, I'm not one who says everything about you is shown in the postseason. I mean, there's a lot to Ryan Tannehill in terms of what we've seen in the fourth quarter of some of these games, and he's a better runner than I think a lot of us imagined when he got here, and he's tougher, and he's been really good from a leadership standpoint, but in terms of his postseason resume and legacy, yes, I think that was sort of the summation of everything we had seen in the previous 2 years. You throw an interception on the first pass of the game, you keep your team in it, you play pretty tough against a good defense all day, you have your team in position to get down the field. You're actually driving, right? At the end of the game there, you're driving, you're 10 yards from where you need to be to kick a field goal or whatever, and then all of a sudden another interception. So it's not like there's just something different about Ryan Tannehill in the postseason, and this is a guy who for 8 years was never in the postseason. Is he still learning to play playoff football? Maybe. I mean, I don't think you can say the book is closed on Ryan Tannehill at this point, but it's certainly there's a lot written that you can say is he's got to come up with an M. Night Shyamalan kind of ending here. I would think it'll be a big plot twist if he could change the narrative here in this postseason or the next one or whenever.
Well, it feels like it's an until further notice kind of situation. That's probably the most memorable thing, unfortunately, that's happened to him in his pro career is that game, unfortunately. The good news is sports gives you a next season. Yeah. It gives you an opportunity to try to rewrite that narrative. But to your point, Bokey, if you've been doing this for X amount of years, it's not like he's 23 and he's still learning. Like at some point, you just kind of are what you are. And that's what that coach is basically intimating. But Tannehill's going to have the opportunity to shut everybody's mouth this year. And that's the beauty of sports is there's always a next season.
Yeah, and the big thing about that game against Cincinnati is it's the first time the Titans went into a playoff game saying, Ryan Tannehill, you've got to win this game for us. Yes, we've got Derrick Henry back in the lineup, but we don't know what we have from Henry. And then it became pretty clear early on in that game that, he was still working his way back from the foot injury. The 4 playoff games the previous 2 years before that, let's face it, it was on Derrick Henry.
Yes.
And so that was a different animal for him too. And what 10, 11 years into your career to finally be in that situation. Okay, he didn't get it done. I'll be curious to see from what we see this year too. If that is the offense this year, if it's more a Ryan Tannehill offense than a Derrick Henry offense, because maybe the coaches are concerned about Henry's durability at this point, or if he's not quite the same guy he's been. That's going to be one of the storylines early in the season to really watch with this team. If they're going that direction with the offense, and into a much more quarterback centric kind of approach like most teams have nowadays.
Well, we're looking forward to chatting with you now that football's pretty much back. Man. Like obviously the games haven't started, but we can see it just looking at the digital numbers this morning. You can tell all of a sudden football feels like it's back. So here comes everything. And now all of a sudden we look up and it's January.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking last night. I'm like, okay, I'm going in the tunnel here, and you put your head down, you just keep going, and like you say, I'll see you. Yes, I'll be on. I'll see the rest of the. I'll talk to you guys and whatnot, and see the rest of the world here in January.
Appreciate you, brother. Thanks so much.
You,
okay, thanks for having me, boys.
Yeah, man, that's Bokey. Yeah, and I remember Haggany telling me that he was neighbors with Mark. For years, and just lost at 65. It's just such a shame. But again, I mentioned yesterday, his legacy didn't end. There's bits and pieces of the way Mark did his job that I picked up.
Yeah,
I still say on the other side, and he said straight ahead a lot too. But on the other side came directly from him. I realized that fairly regularly. And look, where did my snipe finger came from? The quickest trigger in the history of phones, maybe in sports talk radio, is Mark Howard. He was not suffering fools.
Gotta respect that.
Not at all. Had all the energy in the world and so much passion. Another guy with a lot of energy, Mo, is Ryan Kelly at the Home Loan Expert, who we welcome on the line right now.
Welcome in, Ryan Kelly of the Home Loan Expert, man. First and foremost, thank you for your time this morning. But we're in an era right now where rent is a little bit high. Everything is high. And you'd be better off getting a mortgage, man. If you could, tell us about the pre-approval program that the Home Loan Expert offers to new buyers and also people that are looking for a new home.
Absolutely. Think about this. This year, the first half was not friendly for mortgage rates, right? We read the headlines, and if you were applying for a home loan, if you were even thinking about a refinance or purchase, you were probably pretty shocked when you called in to whatever bank or mortgage lender and you heard like, holy cow, what's that rate going to be? 5, 6, 7%? Ooh, I'm going to put this thing on hold. And you know what? In all honesty, maybe it wasn't the worst decision to do, because now for 6 weeks in a row, officially today, 6 weeks in a row, mortgage interest rates have been on the decline. That's right. For 6 weeks, rates have been coming down, and we're back to a spot where, you know what, probably makes sense. And with our 10-day closing guarantee, if you're thinking about buying a house, we can get you into that home, heck, almost by the end of this month. So if you're thinking about that home purchase, you probably have questions, and we want to answer them. We want to answer them all. You know, we're that expert advisor when it comes to buying a house. We don't try to shove you in and do stuff. It's like, hey, what are you thinking? What are you paying for rent now? What's your current mortgage payment now? Well, let's see what you can be pre-qualified to buy. And a lot of times people are like, holy cow, I can buy this house for less than I'm paying in rent? That's amazing. So I'll tell you, if you're thinking about buying a house, the number one thing you need to do is get pre-approved and know what those options look at. And that's what we do at thehomeloanexpert.com. We take the time to make sure that you fully understand it. Then we give you that pre-approval. And when you find the home of your dreams, boom, tell your agent, I'm ready to close in 2 weeks or less because I got the 10-day closing guarantee at thehomeloanexpert.com ready to roll. I love to talk to people. I love first-time home buyers. We love to explain the process. Heck, we love you if you bought 10 homes. Let's just have that conversation and get those questions answered and get you pre-approved today. Visit thehomeloanexpert.com. Thanks, boys. Have a great morning.
You too.
Second opportunity to join us Saturday night at Nissan Stadium. And tickets are good, too.
Yeah, they
for
are.
SummerSlam. 615-737-1045, the fifth caller. We're going to do trivia. We'll start it tomorrow. How about that?
Yeah, that's cool. We'll give a little bit more of an heads up.
We'll make it more fun the rest of the week. Today, if you can get in today, you get it the easy way.
Hey.
615-737-1045, fifth caller. Not just going to SummerSlam, but you get a pair of tickets that are right with us in our section to hang out with us on Saturday for the event.
No nosebleeds either. These are good.
No, these are good seats.
These are good.
These are really solid. Let's go to cousin Joey in Cross Plains. Joey, good morning.
What's up, Joe?
First off, I remember Mark Howard from my childhood, on News Channel 5 and on the Wake Up Zone. I listened to him a lot there, too. Great man. He taught me a lot about sports. Second thing is I shared this with Schaefer when I first woke up, and I had to wake up a minute before. I was accepted into Austin Peay, guys.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I'm going for communications with an emphasis on sports media.
Awesome.
Nice.
I have no idea what I'm going to do yet. I'm going in, like Hunk told me, go in with an open mind to figure it out.
Absolutely.
But I just wanted to share that with y'all because, y'all teach me a lot about that I don't know about sports, especially with Moan with the insider stuff. So, and like I always say, I feel y'all like y'all are part of my family, and I just wanted to share that good news with y'all.
Well, Joey, I'm sure you do know this. First off, you have our number. You know how to talk to us. Whatever you need along the way, if there's something you think that we can provide, please let us know, man, because that is fantastic news, and we were really excited for you.
Absolutely, dude. And not just that.
Yeah.
Enjoy every aspect of it. Soak up it as much as you can. And a lot of it is trial by fire. I'll be completely honest with you, man. Jump in that saddle and just roll with it, dog. That's really cool.
Congrats, brother.
Guys. Like I said, thank y'all. Y'all mean the world to me, and I really appreciate that from y'all and everything.
No doubt.
It's going to go well, Joe. We got to meet him at the FCA event we spoke at. And just a good dude, and that's an awesome story.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
It's never too late to jump back into school either, man. They just got to throw that out. I think a lot of people age themselves out. You're never too old to go back and learn something, man. So that's good. New career. That's phenomenal. And go ahead.
No.
I was just going to say, in the sports world is just getting bigger and bigger. You see the NFL? Got their own streaming service now, too?
NFL Plus. Yeah.
Yeah. Why not will that be for free? Is that
right.
freeloading right there? Definitely freeloading.
Yeah, it's only free if people aren't willing to pay for it for the most part.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what people are willing to pay for.
What's that?
The NFL.
Yes, sir.
Training camp opens today. I think it starts with a presser. We're going to have Buck Reising join us in the third hour of the program, probably about 25 minutes or so from right now. Get some of the storylines, what he thinks of the Rossini-Burke stuff, the Tannehill stuff, all of that. Finally, we're going to start to get some sense of what's happening, get a look at the rookies with some other guys out there before long.
Yeah.
The For the Fam Hangout coming up on August the 11th, I believe it is. Ravens-Titans preseason game, Bull Patriot Brewing is where you can come hang out with us, our official first ever hashtag For the Fam event. Looking forward to being out there with a lot of you. I guess you could say the For the Fam event is this weekend, but you have to win tickets to this one. Like this one you have to get lucky with. That one you can just show up.
Yeah, just pop in.
So this will be a little bit of a different story there. We'll come back. We'll look at some of the other headlines surrounding the NFL right now. See, there are big stories in other sports right now, but now that football's getting closer, those storylines recede.
The king is here.
I will say this. One thing we haven't, we'll wait and we'll do that in the fourth hour before Slay, but we need to talk about UT. We need to talk about Tennessee.
Yeah.
Because obviously yesterday we didn't talk about anything sports related. So. It all took a backseat, as it should have. We'll come back after the headlines. More on the NFL and everything that's going on there. Tyreek Hill is saying a lot of stuff.
I know. Players and podcasts.
Yeah,
man.
I even saw Ryan Clark say, I'm in the podcast world. I know how this works. You got to say stuff that people are going to then listen to over and over again and play on all these shows. I'm like, so what are you telling us? You're lying? Like, are you in effect saying we're just saying stuff to say stuff here? But Tyreek Hill,
Yeah.
he's wearing the Mr. Go 30.
Yeah.
He's wearing the sunglasses from the guy who
Coach
actually
30.
does the things right, like the superstar player.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about some of that stuff after the break here. Jay Martin and Mo 104.5 The Zone.
Jay, it's still hot around here, man, and we might get a little bit of break in the heat, but I'll tell you another way you can beat the heat, man, and save some cash. You can save $200 off any style new window from Window Nation. Plus, you can pay nothing until 2024. By the way, that's a long time away. Lower your energy bills and raise the value of your home with new energy-efficient windows from Window Nation, my brother.
Yeah, I know that I have to do it, and so they came out, and I'm looking forward to getting those windows in. $200 off any style new window from Window Nation. Pay nothing until 2024, and a free entry door with the purchase of a house of windows. Those stick and drafty, cracked, hard to open windows, the ones that lock when they close. You got to get new windows. You're paying too much in your energy bills, not to mention the mold and just the devaluation of your home that comes from not having good windows. It can cause serious structural damage to your home. You need to get it taken care of. I want to save money on my energy costs and make sure that the house is in good working order. So again, save $200 off any style window from Window Nation with every two you buy, plus no payments, no interest until 2024. A free entry door with the purchase of a house of windows. You're going to save thousands on the new windows and on the energy bills, all while upgrading the look and feel of your home. Do it by calling Window Nation, 866-90-NATION. That's 866-90-NATION, or online where?
At windownation.com.
It is 8:02. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. Veterans reporting to St. Thomas Sports Park today. That means Titans training camp. Mike Vrabel, John Robinson, and VP of Player Personnel Ryan Cowden will meet with the media at 11:30 today. You can hear that during the Buck Reising show. Major League Baseball yesterday, Phillies defeated the Braves 6-4. The Phils scored 3 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning to rally for the win. Atlanta has dropped 2 in a row. And some college basketball news on the recruiting front. 5-star small forward Justin Edwards announced his commitment to Kentucky on Monday, becoming UK's second 5-star pledge in 2023. He chose the Wildcats over Tennessee. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once. On your Over the Titans and the Vols, this is 104.5. The Zone.
What's happening? Hour 3, J. Mart and Ramon. Here, 104.5, The Zone, lifted up by All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. Buck Reising follows us, and he will follow us into the next segment as well.
The Buck laugh.
Buck sent out a text on Saturday to all of us, encouraging you. Oh, I'm not mentioning it to you, but you got it too. I forgot about that.
It's like,
The streets were calling Buck Reising.
And he didn't turn back at all.
No, he did not. No, sir.
How did he preface the text, though, man? I know a lot of you got kids and wives.
Yeah.
Hold on. Give me about 10 seconds here. We'll get there.
Like, dog, hey, you want to talk about a last?
He was the bad influence in the cartoon. He was Roger on Doug. He was trying to lure us down a dark pathway.
Yeah. He's the reason Ubers exist, man. Saturday night for sure.
Easy there,
Saturday, 6:41. I know everyone's got kids and other real life stuff, but I'm going out with a big group to Wild Beaver, then Church and Union, if anyone's down to clown. The best part after that is like 10:30.
Yeah.
I was already home from the Sports Hall of Fame dinner by 10:30. Son. There's also a video that showed up later that is not airable.
No, at
Oh,
all.
I didn't see that.
Oh. That's after the show.
Okay, I didn't see that.
That's J. Martin Ramon after dark. Well, I cannot play the audio.
We were at the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame induction banquet on Saturday. We didn't get to say this yesterday because of everything that was going on, but great event. Brad Willis is a pro at everything he does. Everything that he touches is better because he's been associated with it. That thing ran like clockwork.
Yeah.
I mean, I had to get out of there early, but I saw through Harry Galbraith and then had to leave. But the meal was excellent.
Oh, the braised rib.
The braised rib was on point.
We don't cook enough beef ribs, man. I just want to throw that out there to the universe.
Dude, it was so tender. You didn't need a knife. Like it pulled apart with the fork.
You just cool
Like
little tease,
fantastic with
huh?
some Brussels.
You
It
didn't
was
even have to pull it
fantastic.
apart with the fork. You just poked it with the fork and it fell apart.
Just like that.
Oh.
It's just gonna rub
Just
it in,
like that.
huh?
It was phenomenal.
Well, then start cooking, Mo.
Now I gotta start.
Now I'm
I
going to
gotta,
hear Cousin Bam and, and grilling and blah.
I'm going to get some beef ribs soon, okay?
Bam, do not call.
I'm gonna smoke them.
Cousin Bam might be on the Aaron list later this week. I love you, bud.
It's almost like a robocall when it comes to grills. We're going to change it to where it says potential spam.
Yeah. But the beef ribs, they were that good, huh, Jay? Now we need to stop talking about it because the price gonna go up around the stores when people start buying more of them. We don't need that, man. Goodness.
But it was a really good event.
Really good event, though.
really well done.
3 classes were inducted since they
Yeah.
didn't have a banquet the past couple of years.
I saw
Ex-teammate
pictures.
of yours got in.
Yeah, D'Angelo
D'Angelo
Williams.
Williams.
My brother, man. God, I wish I was there for. I wish I was there for Harry Galbraith. By the way, he was a guy, and I brought this up numerous times before. Clarksville legend. Got to throw that from the state, man. Played at Tennessee, All-American, all of those things. He was one of the first guys that grabbed me, when he came back to the University of Tennessee to be on the strength and conditioning side and told me, look, hey, you got what it takes. Lock down. This is what you need to do, and I'm going to ride with you the entire way. God, I wish he was still here just so he could see how my career just kind of developed, because he was a huge part. Me, Inky, Gerard, Rob, Sinclair, he was that type of dude. So I'm glad that y'all say that his enshrining
the video
was
great.
good.
Video was great.
His famous phrase, what you doing, Gallardo? He just say that all the time. Like, I don't know where it came from. It was like, oh, hell, Gallardo. He say that all the time. Just, Harry, it was for him and for D'Angelo. I need to say, I'll give D. Will a ring because he's a Memphis guy. I probably didn't want to see it anyway.
Coach Mack was holding court.
Was he?
Coach Mack doing Coach Mack.
Did he
things.
hold his hands out when he was talking and everything, though?
I don't know.
He did everything that is associated with Coach Mack.
That
Wow.
says a lot for me, man. But I saw
Got
a
to
lot
see
of
Jimmy
pictures.
Wyatt. Hadn't seen Jim in a little while.
His arms were good. No ladder
And
in.
Jim's role was saying, "Oh yeah, I forgot about the ladder."
Man, that was over a decade
Right before
ago.
camp, right?
That's right.
That's right. The
I
ladder
forgot about
incident
that.
years and years ago before camp. Broke both his arms. Sorry, Jimmy.
But
Sorry, Jimmy.
wonderful event. Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame is fantastic. I do got to mention this though. You didn't see it. I told you about it. The auction, the live auction. Of course, you got a signed Heupel helmet. You got a signed Clark Lee helmet, and a signed Jerome Bettis Steelers jersey, and like a bunch of stuff like
There's
that.
a Chase Claypool thing.
Yeah.
There's
How the heck that get there?
Well, it's not just local stuff. There's a bunch of stuff from across. There was
That's
a Bronco.
all right.
There was a Dansby Swanson jersey I looked at.
Taylor
pretty
stuff,
hard.
busting with the boys stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. There's
There was
guitars
a-
there.
Yeah, so there was a lot of
I'd
cool
have
stuff there.
I'd have got a guitar.
I almost
There
did.
were trips that
Yeah.
were low too. It was like 7 days in Barbados for $250 and stuff like
Is that a
that.
scam?
I was just like, "Is this a timeshare?"
No.
No. I mean, it was just not. It was an auction. But the very last thing on the table,
Talk to me.
I heard the Ryan Tannehill sounder when I saw it from afar, and
Get
it was
outta
like
here.
it got closer and closer and closer. A signed, framed action shot
Yeah.
of Arthur Juan Brown.
Excuse me?
Was it? Oh my.
It was a signed shot of
Okay.
him beating the Saints.
Yeah.
And it was signed, and it was A.J. Brown, and it was the very last thing on the table, and I was just like, dong.
Hey, AJ still got a lot of love in this city. It's just a lot of hate with it too now.
I saw that price was a little bit low.
It wasn't.
He was on his way to that being $1,000 item, probably.
He was on his way 100%. He might have showed in and got 2,000.
But I saw it, and I was
for
like,
it.
don't make too much eye contact with that right there.
That old girl thing, man.
And there was no question it was at the end of the thing for a reason, too.
Yeah.
Like, this is at the end. This would have been near the start.
100%. 100%. You left, you said a little bit earlier, Shay, what was going on with Coach Former? Because I saw pictures of him with his arm around people with the biggest smile
Well,
I've ever. What did
that's
y'all
because
put in
you
the
You
punch?
saw him with Abby 3 years ago.
What y'all put in the punch, man?
He was presenting all the crystals to everybody. that got
Okay.
them.
I was
Yeah.
like, I've never seen this man
He
act
was
this
presenting
way.
a lot of sandwiches on Saturday
That's
night.
right. At least they weren't in McDonald's.
At
Back.
least they weren't, and at least he didn't use his wife to do it.
Oh, my gosh.
What? You know I was going that way.
That's
Well, we
fine.
don't got enough time right here to really cut down on that.
We're going to do that when we get Slate.
But Coach Fulmer here, he was handing out all the crystals that went along.
Okay.
And when I say crystals, yes, actual crystal, not starting with a K.
Trophy-looking crystals.
Trophies,
Yeah.
look like a vases or vases or whatever.
He had the biggest smile. And I was
Yeah,
like,
Coach was great.
so that goes to the event. I'm in town. I'm not missing that one again because y'all made it seem like it was a friggin' shindig.
It was a great
man.
time.
As I say behind the mug, you
Been-
were invited to go to the.
I know.
Been to the last two. It was just very well. I mean, Brad he gets these things right. I've been associated with a lot of live things that he has done, remotes, events, sports fest, and stuff. He's almost maniacal in how everything. Dude, we were getting text messages. We got text messages that are like, "Hey, your table is number 6. Go ahead and sit down. The program will begin at 7. And that thing was on.
Yeah. Silent
7
auction will be over
bam.
at 8 o'clock. And
Get in here now.
Yeah.
I was like, man.
He was like, we're not keeping you here all night long. You're getting out of here by 9.
They play the Oscar music for you.
Yeah, they were playing people off.
dude, it was done by 8:30.
Yeah.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Because I had to leave a little bit before 8.
Yeah. It was awesome.
Oh, Brad don't play.
Because I don't like going to that type of stuff, and that's no offense to anybody involved. I just don't like going to
And
that stuff.
they're great events,
But
but
it
it's
was
like he
great.
understands you don't want to be there
Yeah.
for 12 hours.
You said, hey, let's go.
Yeah.
Time to roll,
One
fellas.
of Ramon's BFFs was the only speaker at the event, and that was John Ingram. He got to speak as the Tennessean of the year.
Hey,
I
now.
did not
There we
get to
go.
see that part.
Yeah.
But
That's
because
freaking
you would-
awesome.
You would left.
At
At least you had to go to work, so it was okay.
I will not miss the next one, man. I'm glad to hear that it went off without a glitch, man. That's pretty cool.
it was.
job.
It
I was
was
sitting
it
at
was
the
a great
table,
time.
and all my guys were gone. I was
Hold
just-
up, so
just
Buck texted at an appropriate time is what you telling me. That's y'all done at 8:30. Y'all could have met Buck right where he was at, man.
I had to work.
No, call in. Let him know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Getting started at 10:30.
Hell no.
I feel you.
Nope.
He was. I might have taken him up on that just to see Buck wild out.
Oh,
That's
no.
all I want to
I've
see.
got no time for that.
Because he dropped something in the chat. I was just like, man, you got a hell of a point.
But I was sitting there going, Slay might go out up here. Might go out.
he had a point. It's like, this is our last break till June, fellas. I was like, well, mount up.
I saw that. I was like, maybe for you. But it was the perfect setting for Buck Reising.
Hey, look at us.
Speaking of which, Buck will join us after the break. What are the big storylines? What's happening now that Camp's here? And when did Diana Rossini call or talk to Mike Vrabel? We'll ask him that. It's Jay Martin Mo, 104.5 The Zone. We'll have Buck Reising pop in the studio here in just a second. I'd seen him pop up on the phone, and I was like, we can't even get him in person?
Walk big time, man. We've been knowing that.
Well, apparently, riding these streets
Screets.
on the weekend.
I need to know how Saturday night went. Like,
Oh,
even
we'll
if
ask
he
him.
remembers. Even if he remembers, man. Started training camp today. I've never been more excited.
I just want the games here, man. I want college. I want pro. I want it all here.
Yeah, buddy. Tennessee opens up early this year. I think Ball State. Hey, Blaine, we might need to discuss a bet. What you think about that? Oh,
I don't think Blaine's going to bet on Ball State to win.
No, not even win. I might give him the points. I might give him the spread. It depends. I'm a little stingy with that because that can go. Nah, screw that. We'll run that up on.
You know who
Ball
wasn't
State.
stingy with things?
Who?
Jeremy Pruitt and his wife.
Is that the one thing of the report that kind of threw everybody over? Is like
The wife was carrying the bag on occasion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a little bit surprising.
I didn't see that being the case. Well, I'll say it was that part of it, and honestly, it was the 60,000. Like it really amounted to 60 grand. Heck, that's like offensive line NIL money at this point.
No, it pretty much is.
Yeah.
But the one thing that people got wrong, and actually some smart people seem to get this wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Even under the rules now, the NIL stuff, this stuff's still illegal.
Yeah.
Like people are like, oh, look at what's happening with NIL. These are not the same things. These
They
are
are.
still violations. And the thing that most
Separate.
people were most upset with, I don't mean most of the like regulars, but certainly people in college football, was that during the dead period, during COVID, when no one was supposed to be doing anything, they were doing stuff. And I even read a bunch of college football writers that say, look, they actually they abided by this. Everybody did. As hard as it was, they all actually stuck by this. And Jeremy Pruitt was just like, nope.
I wonder what made him in this age of social media, in this age of everybody talking, just everybody talks these days, man, when it comes down to recruits and just the social media posts. You really thought you were going to get away with this? Like the world wasn't shut down that much. By the time of like summer 2020, people were out and doing stuff and communicating and trying to do some things, man. And you decided to bring people on campus, an institution during that time of the year and think it was okay. And by the way, his wife also was in compliance before at other universities. She knew the rules too.
That's also just funny to me. That she worked in compliance. And by compliance, what she really meant was, all right, honey, whatever you say, I'll comply.
Yeah. Like that was the most confusing part of it. Like, Jeremy, people were going to find out about this and you still broke the rules.
And then 3-7.
3-7. That was the one thing my wife said. It was like,
You're going to cheat your rear end off
win
for 3-7.
If that ain't UT, I don't know what it was under Jeremy Pruitt. Like, goodness. It's our favorite Buck that we know, aside from Young Buck, the rapper comes
I was
in.
about to say, how many Bucks do we know? Uncle
Oh,
Buck,
a few.
Just the one, baby.
Young Buck,
Fitzgerald, Rising.
Buck Fitzgerald, that's
Yeah,
right. Buck Fitzgerald.
All of it.
All of the Bucks, man. That's a southern name?
Tampa
now.
Bay Bucks.
Tampa Bay Bucks, Buckaroos.
Buck Williams.
Buckies.
Buck Rogers.
Beauclair hit me with
Buc-ee's.
some kind of reference yesterday that I did not for the life of me understand.
Well, that's pretty much
And
every
like the
reference.
YouTube chat went crazy because apparently it was super dated. It was Buckaroo Bonsai or something like
Yeah,
that.
that's the Jeff
Yeah,
Goldblum
and then he
joint
made it-
back in the 80s.
Oh, I can't hear Schaefer. I should
Oh,
probably should have brought my headphones. Schaefer is so mad at me. Slide those bad boys over here.
He said it was
Yeah,
Jeff
that-
Goldblum in the
outstanding.
80s, Buck. That's
Yeah.
what he said.
Yeah, he can't hear you. By the way, Buck, the first question I got for you before we even get to the sports.
Yes.
The text thread was phenomenal.
Yeah, we're sitting there. Buck, we get that. Schaefer and me are sitting next to each other. The Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame induction banquet. And Buck's basically the bad
Solicited.
conscience. He's sitting on our left shoulder with a pitchfork like, come on, guys. The streets are calling.
It's me.
What? My first question, I told everybody I was going to ask you, what do you remember about Saturday night?
Precious little. It all happened so fast.
That's usually how it goes.
All right. So listen, I got my girlfriend Dara, who
Shout out to Dara.
Jason, I know you met at the bowling event. She's been a stud about the whole charity thing, and she does a great job making sure that I get to have fun on my birthday. Like
Nice.
and I appreciate the hell out of that because I know I'm a pain in the ass.
I'm putting it up for her.
So clap it up. So she got the whole day planned out. And so we start to get like ready to go out, and we've got dinner reservations, and then we're going to go out to a bar, except the bar plan expedited very quickly. When is the last time that either of the two of you have been inside of Wild Beaver?
I don't know that I've ever. Okay, I can't.
Come on, Buck.
What do you want? What do you want, man?
What time can I start making those jokes?
You knew you were coming in here playing with the kids today, man. Why are you acting this way?
Because it's true. We ended up at Wild Beaver. I haven't been in Wild Beaver in like 6 years.
I don't even know where it is.
They got pills for that.
You're just gonna continue.
I'm
to
pretty
just
sure I do those reads.
I mean, that's the name. I know that's the name of the establishment in question.
Indeed.
I don't even know
What
where
were you
it's
talking
located.
about? What
and that
happened there?
sounds bad for me too. I don't even know where it
Come
is.
on, Buck. Not on my first day back, Buck. Come on, man. You know. Okay.
So
Go
yeah, it
tell us
started
about
there.
the Wild
It was
Beaver.
karaoke night in the Wild Beaver, and then there was dinner at some point, but dinner was at like 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
So I texted you guys because I was like, "Hey, we're gonna go out." I don't know because everybody has like kids and actual real life responsibilities and things of that nature. I didn't know if I was gonna get anybody because I texted you guys at 7:30. I think we were gonna go out like 3 hours later.
Yeah.
Well, I had to work.
Oh, that's right.
I'll be real. That was the real. That honestly is a real grace period for people that got kids and a life at home type. Like you got enough time to say, "Hey, yo, Buck just hit us all up. We're about to go out." Like that was appropriate, Buck. That was very responsible of you, man. Put the kids to bed,
That's
all
right.
right, and be ready to go and burn the town down with Buck.
The streets are calling.
They
called.
They called.
There was a Printer's Alley appearance.
Oh,
there was a
look at that.
fight near the Daddy's Dog
Hey.
hot dog stand. It was it got very aggressive, and then I threw up a couple times, and then went to Ryan Tannehill's youth camp for kids.
Who was it? Was it
Later in the
Brett
afternoon.
Michaels of Poison that was out there? I saw that in an article.
I mean, I did not see that in an article. Brett Michaels of Poison. Didn't
He
have-
was at the camp.
He just had like an incident here in Nashville pretty recently, didn't he? Because
Yeah,
Poison couldn't-
medical emergency.
That's what I'm saying. Like
I
he went to
believe
the.
he was there.
Does he just come out the hospital?
I'm gonna have to look it up now.
I hope he's doing well.
So were you like Will Ferrell at like old school with drunk walking around drunk at,
Yes.
at the camp?
Yes.
That was you? Dude,
No.
you shot
I
yourself
had-
with a dart.
I had dried out by the time that we got to the youth camp Sunday evening because it was 110 degrees, and I decided it was a good idea to go to yoga at 9:30 in the morning on Sunday. And so I got my Zen on, and then I tried to get a little faster to 220 through no restraint whatsoever. And then I made my appearance at the Tannehill camp because I got a job to do. I'm working, baby. It's football season, training camp.
Let's go.
You
let's go.
see, he's ranked 17th in the Mike Sando quarterback tiers.
I think that's appropriate. Like, I mean, what?
I'm just laughing at it because I'm like, most people
It
are
is
like, you
appropriate.
either stutter with it or you're like, yeah, that's appropriate. When you finally read the description of it, it's
You
like,
do the
yeah.
Alonzo Morning gif. That's
Yeah,
what you
and that's exactly like, yeah, that's about right.
No, the quotes are all fair. And like the only thing about and Mike Sando, it's different from the other list. Like Jeremy Fowler, I think, does a really good job with those things. But between those two, that's about it. As far as actual quotes from people in the NFL.
Yes.
Now it's easy to do the takedown piece with the quotes being anonymous.
Yeah.
So the only egregious thing in here is this bleep of a defensive coordinator that was talking about Lamar Jackson
Yeah, I saw that
in
too.
these kind of ridiculous terms. But Tannehill at 17 and in the tier setup that Sando has as a tier 3 behind Jimmy Garoppolo and just one in front of Mac Jones. I think that's completely accurate.
Really? A second-year guy? Mac Jones right behind Tannehill?
Oh, I think when you talk to people in football about Mac Jones, the conversation is, yeah, he's fine. He may just be that. He may just be that. And I think with Tannehill, he may just be that.
Well,
I think both of those guys are right there.
Well, the quote that I read, Boclair, and the one that I was just like, unfortunately, this defines Tannehill to this point. He's still playing, so there's a chance to change this. It says the coach that said my heart broke for him that he played so poorly in that playoff game. he was having such a good year, really 2 years, but I think that's what he is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in a couple of times they've asked him to be the guy to win the games. He hasn't been able to do it.
The most successful playoff run that they have had, he was not the featured piece. He was the ancillary piece.
Yeah, what, one touchdown during that postseason?
He had the touchdown. No, he had the touchdown to Ferkser in New England. He had the touchdown to Khalif Raymond in Baltimore.
Right.
He had Jonnu Smith touchdown, the butt cheek touchdown. These are fun memories. Derrick Henry threw a touchdown pass to Corey Davis on his birthday that night. And then I think there might have been a touchdown in the Kansas City game. Yeah, he threw one to Dennis Kelly. He threw one to Dennis. So, I mean, but it was as a part of the offense. Like, it wasn't volume. Like, I think in the Ravens divisional round game when they knocked off Lamar as the 1 seed, when they were the Bengals, coming into Baltimore's house and just completely shocking everybody in that stadium that night, Ryan Tannehill was an effective and efficient cog in the offense. Now, you need him, obviously. You need him to perform optimally. And we've seen NFL teams with limitations at that position go far in the playoffs, make a Super Bowl. That's the whole conversation around Jimmy Garoppolo. Can you get me to the game?
Hearing you mention his touchdown sequences, man, is almost like it's very gimmicky. You're talking about a touchdown to Dennis Kelly. You're talking about a butt touchdown. You're talking about guys just making circus catches. Like, where are we at as far as just him being a rifle?
AJ in the Cincinnati game made a play he had no business making because he's A.J. Brown. It wasn't a particularly great throw. It was just an awesome play by A.J. Brown in the end zone.
I would say that you're not giving him fair enough credit on the throw. I thought the throw was pretty spectacular.
But you see what I'm saying, though? Like, it's always with a clause around what he's got going on at quarterback, man. And if, again, to your point about him being right in front of Mac Jones, if that's the case and he's fighting last year's stench on him, it seems like Ryan Tannehill is almost on a skid as far as his career goes at this point.
See,
have we hit the peak yet?
Oh, for sure. I think peak is probably 2020. But again, peak is really good. Like, peak for them is good if he can be relied upon to just be steady. And I think there's so many NFL teams that deal with this kind of an issue. If you're looking at the tiers, just for the sake of, and you can find this at theathletic.com, the top of the tier that Ryan Tannehill is in is Kirk Cousins. Then it's Garoppolo. Then it's Tannehill.
And we've compared him to both those two guys a number of times in terms of what his ceiling can be, even though I like Tannehill more than Kirk Cousins. Maybe not by a lot, but I think that they're very similar. But Garoppolo, he's done more because he's taken teams a little bit further.
Yeah. I think that for what the analysis is, he's got limitations, but they can win football games with him.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that if you don't have, I mean, that's why they were shopping for quarterbacks. But the reality of the situation is, however blown out of proportion the Aaron Rodgers stuff was, there was at least an exploratory process.
Right.
The Deshaun Watson thing, there was no chance in hell that Houston was going to trade him within the division, but at least they were sniffing around, rightly or wrongly, when it comes to that kind of a situation. I think when you look at Tannehill, it is appropriate for you to look at him and say, yes, they have found ways to win football games with him. He has been a good player statistically, and I mean, it's not as simple as quarterback wins and losses. You have to look at a couple of different metrics to really get a full evaluation of what he is. But I think when they ask him to go above and beyond, he's just not one of those guys. There's not that many.
So, all right, this offseason we've seen a lot of lists come out. Some, of course, by media types, some also with players and GMs and front office and coaches is in it too. When we're talking about this quarterback position, they had Matt Ryan ahead of him, tier 2 type of guy, okay? And on top of that, we've seen the Colts players this offseason, Jonathan Taylor, Leonard, just a bunch of these, DeForest Buckner, Quentin, all these guys make high numbers on this list as far as the players and teams. This division between two, let's be honest about it, Colts and the friggin' Titans at this point. If you don't believe in Ryan Tannehill so far right now, what does it say about the rest of the season as far as Matt Ryan being a guy, them having key players at key position to make big-time plays for him? Like, is this division the Colts to lose at that point, Buck?
No, Titans should still be favored by nature of that defense. Matt Ryan
the
has,
Titans defense is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's not the Colts division to lose just by nature of the Titans having the kind of defensive front that they do. Matt Ryan, I would trust in a situation over Ryan Tannehill if you just put them 1-to-1.
Okay.
I think Matt has been up against some really, really difficult circumstances in Atlanta.
Yep.
And when you watch some of the cuts of him, some of the cut-ups of him, I really think that the ability, he's not what he was. He's not at the height of his powers, obviously, but he's also not washed Phillip Rivers at the end of the line in Indianapolis. Like, I think he's better than that. But he can't move. And their left tackle situation is a nightmare.
It's going to be a young
By the
boy.
way, watch Phillip Rivers nearly beat the Bills in that playoff game.
No, they made the playoffs. That's right. That playoff game was wild.
That was a wild game, yeah.
But I think when it comes down to, okay, when you look at the teams, I think Houston and Jacksonville are going to cause everybody real problems this year.
They're
I think
both going to be better.
They can suck and still be
Put up a
substantially better.
Yeah.
People like Davis Mills in football. When you talk to coaches about this guy, they legitimately think that Houston has found something that they can work with. Maybe not a 10-year franchise guy.
Like a Dak guy.
I think, well, Dak may be too high a praise, but fourth-round pick. So
Jones.
Mac Jones, I think, is probably a closer comparison because he looked great in Week 18 when I watched him kind of dice up the Titans, make it a little scary in the third quarter. But I think ultimately that if Indianapolis cannot protect Matt Ryan adequately, then advantage Titans still.
Okay.
But I think if you're asking me 1-to-1, which quarterback I would value more, if in a neutral situation, I would take Matt Ryan over Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah.
One thing I've been asking is this, man, about this team. They got to let Ryan Tannehill drive the boat, okay? Like, we need to see sets or series of him no-huddle commanding it. You know what I'm saying? Like, is that something that Todd Downing needs to add to this offense? It's like, I think that's the one aspect of this team, Buck. I know you're a running team.
Yeah.
But we also saw a young guy in year 2 just dice you apart in the last minute of a playoff game at home. Like, that's the X factor. Is can you put Ryan Tannehill in that position? Do we charge Todd Downing this year to be like, hey, challenge him? This ain't a rookie anymore. Ryan Tannehill is in your system. He knows his team. He has his receivers. Like, no huddle sets of offense, I feel like, needs to be an identity for this team to get over that offensive hump. I've been saying it for like the last 2 years, but like, we got to see him spin the ball on his own and run this offense.
No huddle and empty sets. Just modernize.
Empty sets.
That's what I'm saying. Like, just get him in rhythm. And I think that's the biggest criticism. And there are reasons why Todd Downing and Ryan Tannehill had the years that they did. We could do this with Marcus Mariota towards the end too. There were examples of excuses and there were examples of legitimate, okay, you have to grade it on a curve because of the circumstances that they're in. But both need to be better.
Yeah.
Ryan Tannehill needs to be better. Todd Downing needs to be better.
Yep.
And there is no way to guarantee health, but it is fair to assume that they will not have another record-setting injury rash that caused them to kind of cycle as many dudes on a week-by-week basis that make an offense impossible to really kind of branch out because you can only run a certain set of packages when you're bringing these guys in on a Thursday afternoon, Ramon, on a workout. And then Deontay Foreman and Dontrell Hilliard are starting against the New England Patriots, and you got who out there playing wide receiver?
Right. But that's one thing I think that'll help Derek this year. If, like you said, going to the line Derek outside, bring him in. That way you can see the defense, especially with this new group about to be on the O-line.
That's the thing that
it got to get simple. And like,
I don't know what that's going to be.
An empty set will help that because if I see the linebacker coming into the gap when Derek motions in, well, that's our guy. We're going him front side. Don't get me started on that. The no huddle could murder teams, okay, if they've ran it efficiently.
It was one of the weirdest things under Malarkey. I don't know if you remember this, Jason, but like Marcus Mariota was so much more comfortable the year Terry Robisky was the offensive coordinator when they just let him go no huddle.
Yeah, anytime you got in that 2-minute offense where he was just
they went
dealing,
fast. He got
because it was
rhythm.
Oregon.
Yeah, it was a more comfortable version of what the player wanted to do. Now Tannehill is going to thrive more on play action than he is going to as a straight up drop back quarterback. Yeah. But again, the empty sets, get the ball out quick. It's just about the pace. And if Derek, how they manage basically how teams game plan for them, because everybody in the world knows what they are and what they do. And it was great for a while because for a while you couldn't stop it.
Right.
But now it's a thing where people are looking at it and it's being heavily scrutinized. And yeah, it's Mike Vrabel telling us after the Bengals game, well, we felt like we were in our kind of game, and it's 16-13, and you're looking around and being like, you can't survive this way, dude. It's got to evolve. That's the biggest question heading into training camp, and what we're going to, I'm doing the show out there basically every day that they're having practice, and so that's what we're going to be looking for. Chemistry with the new skill position players, chemistry as an offense as a whole, because you're talking about 5 new starters minimum in some way, shape, or form, and then, your boy Burks.
Speaking of which, I need you to ask Vrabel for me. I need you to ask him when he called Diana Rossini and told her to drop that nugget on the Athletic podcast about Traylon Burks being in shape. Because the team, just like the Cardinals want it known that Kyler Murray needs to prepare better, the Titans want it known. They want that narrative out there that Traylon Burks is not going to be a problem.
I think you're assuming the wrong leading man.
Oh, you think it's J-Rob?
I think
Everybody got a guy.
Infinitely more sense for John to need there to be positivity around a first-round pick.
It's a fair point. It's definitely a good point. So Cousin Andrew in Portland is on the line to finish the segment. I can't imagine what he wants to talk about. Andrew?
Hello?
Well. Look who is not at the gym like he's supposed to be.
6:30 a.m., baby. Back and chest. I got it today.
The important person on the Lucas Panzika show is Buck Reising, and he's in the building. I came into the office this morning. I looked over and I saw on my YouTube this beautiful ugly mug of Buck Reising, and I said, I just got to call Buck.
I'll be honest, I look good today.
Now is your time to defend yourself. Since you are in the FAM's 4 hours of radio, defend yourself and explain to everyone why you refuse to say the word cousin on air when your co-host, the better host, Lucas Panzika, always says it. The floor is yours, sir.
Well, that's easy. It's your guys' thing.
Hey.
I don't know you. You're not related to me.
Buck is gonna hit you real quick with that. Come on.
Listen, you guys do the cousin thing. I got no issue with it. I don't know.
You don't even talk to your cousins.
I really don't. I work. See, I don't go to family functions. I got football games I got to go to.
They didn't invite you.
That's fair. Would you?
After Saturday
Hell
night?
no.
Family
You're
function.
the one that does the inviting.
That, I think it works better that way. That way it's on my terms. Then you can control the situation.
I think Tannehill's going to be asked to do 4 hours of independent study every week.
Oh, my God. Can I get a babysitting clause in my contract?
Boy.
My next deal?
Especially if you're making that much money, you can put whatever clause you want in my contract.
I hope that becomes a thing where, like, this is the first time that I've felt old dealing with a professional athlete. Because it just made me think about that ESPN article about how much time Kyler Murray spent during the pandemic playing video games. I'm like, is this a toddler? And it's the first time in my life I've been get off my lawn guy.
Well, some people argue that he looks like a toddler when he's running around.
Oh, sure. It's because he's not studying a playbook, and he's just like, bleep it, I got to run. And he can. It's fun to watch, but my God.
So are you headed to camp now?
No. They don't have stuff today until 11:30. So we're going to carry Vrabel's press conference, J-Rob's press conference, and Ryan Cowden's going to talk to the media, the assistant general manager.
Oh, wow.
Which I find interesting. So I don't know how that's going to go, but I know we're going to be there.
All right, Buck. We will be listening to all of that, brother.
Thanks for having me, boys.
Appreciate you, young Buck.
Split happens.
It was a good time.
It was a good time. We'll be back. It's Jay Martin on 104.5 The Zone.
Is the summertime heat causing you to lose your cool? Well, don't let a broken down or older HVAC unit keep you from being comfortable in your own home. And it's Ramon Foster. I have the heating and cooling company that can take care of all of your HVAC needs, and they are Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. They offer free service calls with their repairs, plus low monthly payments on those repairs. And if you do need a new unit, Spring Hill Heating and Cooling offers 60 months, no interest financing. Plus, they can provide the financing for qualifying purchases and free estimates on replacement units. And they also back their work with 10-year parts and labor warranties. So when the summer's at its hottest, they are at their best. Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, available anytime at springhillac.com.
Third opportunity right now. Hang out with us Saturday at Nissan Stadium for WWE SummerSlam. Fifth caller right now, 615-737-1045. Will get the next pair of tickets to hang with us on Saturday evening, 737-1045. We're going to start doing it via trivia tomorrow. So today's the easy day for you. Thanks to Buck Reising. He will follow us this morning. Camp begins today. Presser 11:30. We're going to carry that.
It's time. We're here, Jay. We are here. Football season is finally here. Feels like the longest off season. We got headlines, storylines. I wonder will the Titans show up in like special vehicles, like a bulldozer, a front loader.
I don't recall anything like that happening.
A forklift. I need to see somebody pull up in some wild today, man. Like create a scene. Somebody get dropped down from a helicopter. Would you parachute in, Jay, to camp just to get beat up by football daily?
As long as it's not in my contract that I can't do extreme sports. Imagine that being in your contract and you fly into camp that way, and they're like, by the way, that just cost you
$10,000,
$4 million or whatever it is.
Yeah, no, for real. Guys get extravagant with it, man. If you create that culture, though, too. We had guys showing up in chauffeur-driven Rolls Royces, like vintage ones. We had a front loader. We had a dump truck, a fire truck. AB landed on the field in the helicopter. Guys pulling up in hard hats. It's a lot of gimmicky stuff, but camp is hard, man. You got to have your last little fun before everything rained down on you. I get excited this time of the year, though, man. A lot of opportunities for guys that don't realize they have a big shot. So, like myself coming into camp, this is a cool little moment where you can really change a lot of things in your life if you make the team, man. That's why guys get so passionate about it, too.
PFF put out their top 50 NFL players list. We haven't talked about that yet.
Big Jeff got to be in there. Top 50 now.
I don't recall his name. I do recall two Titans.
Yeah.
No, wait. One.
Oh, Derek's in there. Should be.
I think it was two.
Two?
I think it was just two. Maybe I missed Jeff. Jeff should be in that list if he's not.
Well,
I haven't looked at it that closely. We'll look at it again. Maybe we'll talk about it after the break. Slade's going to join us in 25 minutes or so from right now. We'll talk about UT a little bit with him. Start a camp. All sorts of craziness because it's Ron. Who in the world actually even knows? Boston trying to get Kevin Durant.
And
Jaylen Brown's just kind of like, what are you doing? I didn't realize Jaylen Brown was only 25. I felt like he'd been in the league longer than that.
Jaylen Brown got all the rights to.
I agree. He was the best player. He was the best player in the NBA Finals for that team, and they're just out here publicly letting that out there.
Putting him in the lion's den, man, with no protection.
For real. After the headlines, another hour of J. Martin Ramon goodness straight ahead here, 104.5 The Zone.
It is 9:01. Good morning. I'm Jonathan Schaefer from the Superbook.com Sports Desk. Today, the start of Titans training camp. Veterans will report to St. Thomas Sports Park today. Mike Vrabel, John Robinson, VP of Player Personnel Ryan Cowden will meet with the media at 11:30 today. You can hear that press conference on the Buck Reising Show. Phillies defeated the Braves 6-4 yesterday. Phil scored 3 in the bottom of the 8th to get the victory. Atlanta has dropped 2 in a row. And to college basketball and recruiting, 5-star small forward Justin Edwards announced his commitment to Kentucky on Monday, becoming UK's second 5-star pledge in the 2023 class. Edwards chose the Wildcats over Tennessee. All right, foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
What's happening? Fourth hour hashtag fastest 4 hours in radio is upon you, upon us. We're blessed to bring it to you courtesy of All Four Seasons Garage Doors in Nashville. Congrats to Tyler Murtaugh of Nashville winning SummerSlam tickets in hour 2. Logan Winters of Brentwood winning them in hour 3. One more opportunity today. And then for the rest of the week, a reminder, Paul Heyman joining us on the show tomorrow. Seth freaking Rollins on Thursday. Friday, the bus is going to be here for us after we get off the show. That's going to be fun. And then Saturday at Nissan, you can hang with us if you win tickets throughout the remainder of the week. This will be the last time where there isn't trivia involved. Trivia begins tomorrow to win those ducats. But it's going to be a lot of fun.
It's a cool word right there.
I love it. That's why I use it, even though I'm using it wrong. We'll have Ron Slay in the next hour, or pardon me, next segment as well. So I saw Ryan Clark mention this about Kyler's contract real fast. And I was thinking about this at the time, too. How can you tell if he's done 4 hours of independent film study unless you've got cameras in his house and cameras all this? And I was just like, well, if they're giving you the material, then they can probably trace the time spent on said material. But they are treating him like he's a 5-year-old.
What if they're giving him quizzes?
Dude, pop quiz.
In college, our offensive line coaches give us quizzes to see if we understood the fronts, where we line up and stuff like that. And the NFL also, one coach we had in particular, Coach Kugler, Cohen, actually is the O-line coach in Arizona right now. And he used to give us quizzes and stuff like that the night before the game because we were a young offensive line. We got to a point, it's like, hey, coach, we got this. We understand it. So it'd be interesting if they actually implement that to Kyler. Like, all right, we're going to make you watch film, but here's your mock-up sheet for the week. Tell us, what do you do against these fronts and what's what? That would be so childish, Jay. For an NFL, I've never known a NFL quarterback to have to go through those types of things to just be a pro. Like, God. And I can understand the value of why guys want to be a quarterback and why you work so hard to do it, too. He got 230, Jay, and hadn't won a playoff game, hadn't done anything crazy. Yes, he is the ticket. He's the show, okay? They have a guy at quarterback with the name that you know, so it's almost as if he's doing his part as far as selling tickets, but his play on the field has to step up, and I think that's the reason they released that little tidbit about his contract. And we got direct excerpts from it, too.
Well, I mean, it says, look, if he's doing things that are distracting him while the material is on, that doesn't count either. It's like, so they have to be able to monitor it somehow because, if he's playing a video game but he's got the tablet on in the room, how would you know unless you had some way to monitor that? And then, look, he's in default.
Yeah.
Which means they're off the hook.
And they capitalize default, too.
Like they're saying, look, he's in default if he doesn't do 4 hours of independent study with material provided by the team.
Yep.
That is amazing.
And in Section 36, number 3, it says a player is not personally studying or watching the material while it has been displayed or played, or player is engaged in any other activity that may distract his attention. For example, watching television, playing video games, or browsing the internet, which such material has been displayed or played. They have these apps that can track everything. Like you say, yeah, coach, I watch film. Like even high school, middle school coach. My son is in middle school on the football team. They have an app called Huddle. Kids use it for the recruiting. They can send you all the material and see if you watched it. And not just watch it. They can tell if you just let it play out. They can tell all of that, Jay.
I just don't know how you could tell if you were playing it or your eyes were on it.
Well, because when you're watching film, you're going to go back and scroll what he did. Like, I'm watching the hand placement. I'm watching the footsteps. I'm watching all of those things. Like, what is the linebacker feet looking like when he's doing those types of things? Like, I'm watching. I might spend, Jay, like the 40 minutes it's going to go by in a snap if he's watching film.
4 hours.
It's 4 hours in a week, isn't it?
Each week.
But, like, if you're 40 minutes a day, whatever the case may be, like, you're going to spend an hour on a tape. The tape itself, the offensive or defensive reel, is probably like 20 minutes. Of just because it's 5-second clips. I'm probably going to rewind a clip about 3 times just to see everything.
So how many
around
times does he have to rewind it for it to then register that he's been doing it? That's the kind of thing I'm saying. Like, there's so much of this that you'd almost have to have somebody monitoring him doing this.
Well, the app is.
Because you could find a way.
Yeah. I got guys that are high school coaches, and my brother, Renardo, he's like, man, I can tell they just turning it on and just doing something else. It's like if it reads 23:45, that means they just let the clip play. Like you watched it and it'll tell me you watched it in totality, but it doesn't show me that you studied the film. Like the breakdown of time spent, it actually shows up on that huddle. If I'm wrong, somebody correct me on it, but I know for a fact
that makes sense. I wouldn't have thought of it that way.
They can tell.
But I mean, I know that, look, I had to do training for work here a couple weeks ago that we have to do every single year.
Yeah.
And there's a quiz 5 minutes into the video. Or there's an interactive situation where you have to answer a question.
Yeah.
To keep moving. Maybe that's how you pull this off. I don't know, because I'd just find a way. I'd have, if I really didn't care, I'd just have somebody else I would pay $100 to come in and just scroll the thing for me and do all that. Like, unless there was a camera on me, you could find a way around this, unless there's some kind of interactive point, which I guess you could do that anyway. But hopefully it just lets him know there's more that he has to do to be an elite level quarterback in the league, and more than just be talented.
This is the other part too. They believe more in him than he does in his actual self. It's one of those things with coaches. Like we hear all the time, coaches want to coach and just watch their players be successful. Like here they have this guy with all his talent that has won at every level. The biggest high school in Texas, if I'm not mistaken. He went to a big-time university, played big-time ball there. He played baseball there also, a top 10 MLB pick, and then goes number 1 overall too. Like this guy has that winner effect. You ever just met people, Jay? They grab a friggin' paper towel and just shoot it in the trash can like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Grab a pool stick, bam. These dudes are pool shark. Play chess with you, they kill you there. Play checkers with you, they kill. Play cards. Oh, man, I never played this before. Next thing you know, like that seems like that's him. And they're probably thinking to themselves, man, if you just tap in just a little bit of what you're in it, of what your talent is, you can be great. And they still rewarded them, Jay, with doing the minimum. So I don't know if they're going to win a Super Bowl with Kyler Murray. I don't know what's going to happen as far as what's needed in his pro career. But they're without Nuke. They're without him for a while. They got Hollywood. Imagine Hollywood Brown, who said, man, I got to get away from Baltimore because I need a real offense. And he shows up now like, man, this dude don't even really watch film.
Well, the thing is, though, he played with him in Oklahoma. He's used to whatever Kyler does. He knows what Kyler does and doesn't do.
The league is so – I'm with you. You're 100% correct on that. That little meshing that they have together, yeah, that does mean a lot. But, man, when you go off the script like that often, teams just wait on you to make a mistake. And that's where he's at right now as a pro. Like, yeah, you're good and all, but you're going to make a mistake probably more times than not.
Again, it's like you've been able to skate because you're just an unbelievable athlete. Your baseball first-round pick, end up being a first overall pick, all these other kinds of things. Like, you've always been able to skate on your talent.
Yep.
Now you've run into a spot where you can no longer do that. Or you can, but there's a ceiling. And we want there to be no roof.
Yep.
Chuck in Clarksville. Chuck, what's up?
What's up, Chuck?
Hey, guys. I know it's been brought up a little bit earlier, but it kind of reminds me of a Vince Young situation. And I'm not saying Kyler's like as immature as Vince Young, but could we not have alleviated some of Vince Young's problem by making him study 4 more hours a day, or 4 more hours a week on film study? Because that was his biggest problem, is he just relied on his talent instead of working hard to make himself better. And I think Kyler's got a little bit of that immaturity. Hopefully he'll grow out of it.
Yeah.
But I think that's a lot of his issues, is just he's been so good, so talented, he can't get himself to realize that extra work's going to make him even better and even be easier for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I think it's come, as weird as this sounds, because I know he has worked hard, it's come easy to him.
Yeah.
Because he's just super fast, super athletic. He does clearly process things quick enough to have made it as far as he is.
Yeah.
But to take the next step, that means winning a playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
And as I mentioned last week when Bullock was in, if we're going to dog out Tannehill for what he's done in the playoffs, at some point you got to knock the number 1 overall pick, who's gotten there once and got absolutely smoked by the Rams this past year, the first time he got there. Now, Hopkins was out, but, Tannehill was missing a lot of weapons.
No doubt about
last season as well.
And what's interesting, too, is I think
Lamar's the same way, by the way.
They have a joint practice with the Cardinals. Am I
do.
right on that one,
They
too?
go to Arizona.
So, this is going to be interesting, dog. No, I think it's here.
I thought they were going west.
Yeah, at Ravens here.
Is it here?
And
Okay,
then
they're
Bucks
coming here.
too.
And
Yeah.
one of them, I thought it was crazy for them to be doing them so far away.
From people I know around that situation said Kyle was very much into trying to get paid. It's like that's all he thought about.
Yeah.
That's all he wanted to happen. And now I'm hoping, since he's got the bag and it's secured, at least to a certain level, that he kind of turns it over a little bit. You know what I'm saying? We praised the AFC West last year. They led the way as far as the Cardinals, and then they fell off. So I'm not rooting for them because we covered the Titans here, and we want to see them do good. But, boy, this, again, he just kind of put a damper behind a lot of guys that are behind him with how, the athletic quarterback is this, and that. And I'm speaking of all races. Like, a lot of guys will break the pocket to make a play, or, man, I'm athletic enough, I'll just wing it.
Yeah, I mean, we deservedly praise the NFC West.
Yeah.
Arizona started out 8-0. They made the playoffs. The NFC Championship game was Rams-Niners, which was 2 NFC West teams, and an NFC West team then won the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
so I think we deservedly praise that division.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll come back. Ron Slade will join us. I would set that conversation up, but why? We'll see where it goes. It's next here on The Zone. Welcome back, J. Martin, Ramon, 104.5 The Zone. Slade just walked past the room, so he'll walk back in here at some point.
Yeah. Oh, boy, got to pay all his dues off. Shake hands, kiss babies, snap pictures.
Now I have looked through the entire PFF Top 50. I'm sure we can talk about that tomorrow on the show.
No doubt, man.
A lot of good players in this league. We'd say that.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it, man. See who made it, who didn't, who's going to have something to say about it, Jason Aloysius Martin.
Luckily, Cam Hayward's in it, and he's fairly high numbers, so maybe he'll be okay.
Oh, I wonder who's number one. Who's won this year? Is it still Patrick?
No, you know who it is.
Joe Burrow?
Who's the best player in the league at his position?
Oh, never mind. AD.
Yeah.
Not all day. Well, he is all day, depending on how much energy you got. Never mind. I was going to call a guy.
The first quarterback mentioned is number 3. Just put that out there.
By the way, do we get a little bit of revenge tour too this year? Is Quentin Spain still with the Bengals?
No,
he's not with the Bengals.
I thought he went somewhere else. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I'm gonna look it up. I might be wrong. You may still be right.
I'd love to know that, man.
He is a free agent.
He's a free agent. Jeff can't get that payback, man. Still, somebody's gonna have to pay for her. He said, and Savage, hey, what's up, Dre? Yeah, let's go. I see you repping Tennessee State today. Got a little deodorant stain on your shirt too.
No, that's how I faded.
Oh, okay, all right. I thought that was a little deodorant stain.
Chris, you talking about at work?
Hey, no, I thought that was you right there.
You know what would be awesome?
What's that?
As if he was on the microphone.
If he was on the microphone.
What up? I'm in the building. I'm on the microphone.
No.
I walk in, I'm on the microphone.
No, you off the microphone. You had to go pay off all kind of debts before you came to see us. Yeah, Buck had it right there. You know he's not a tall person.
Well, he's always worried about the microphone being in front of his face on the camera.
Hey, there he is.
Here I go. Here I go.
Mystical?
Here I go.
That should be your walk-up music.
Yeah.
I ain't come here to play with you, man. I ain't come here to play with you.
What?
Yes, I did. I was playing.
I was say, what? Seen my dog and I don't know how long, man.
It has been a minute.
Sheesh.
You hadn't been over on the weekends or nothing.
Man.
What's wrong with you? I know it's hot outside.
Well, what's these little headphones ain't nothing.
Buck had them. I threw them to him.
Yeah,
I'm not going to blame
take them
him.
on off. I can't hear nobody.
See,
I'm bougie. I got bougie headphones.
Is that nice?
Yep, my boy told me about it.
Yes, I did. Well, Jason told me about him.
So there you go. So,
Yeah, I set him up. Then he got the newer version of him, and now you've got him. That's right.
The Bougie 3.
Bougie 3.
It's a trifecta at this point.
B3.
Oh, there go. Oh, yeah, I can hear y'all good. What's happening, everybody?
Man, just a cool little Tuesday. Our regular spot ain't ain't even open no more for the Taco Tuesday.
And guess what, man?
What?
I just seen the homies in there in the green room. Then they eating burritos.
From where?
Where?
Should I say where?
We can talk about it after off air. It doesn't matter.
Just Love. They say they're from Just Love.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
okay.
the fam, man. We mess with them.
That's Keithbull.
Yeah, that's Keithbull.
So we have barely touched on this at all, and it's football time, so we're not going to touch on it that much. But Jaylen Brown, I'm letting it go. I'm just trying to
done with him
Eat your
already.
chips.
high road, man. Listen here, Traylon Burks. Doritos on the boat.
Traylon Burks.
That should have been paid. That should have been paid endorsement.
Don't catch him on the sidelines.
Yeah,
even.
Jay. Oh.
Jaylen Brown. I didn't realize Jaylen Brown was only 25.
Nah,
I
young
felt like
cat,
he'd been
man.
in the league longer than that.
Nah, he got in what he did too. We've been in for a minute. What, about 6-7 years?
Yes, so.
He you got to think he came into college early too.
And the beard ages him.
Came into college, yeah, he does because he didn't have that when he came in. He didn't have the hair and everything. You know what I mean? He was low cut and everything. He was with Conzo and Cal.
Okay.
Cal got him early. I almost want to say reclassified and went up.
Yeah.
And went to Cal and got that year done where he could get to the league. Because
Wow.
he probably would have been one of the guys that would have been able to come out of high school.
Mm-hmm.
He was so talented, but he had to get, that was when the year rule was in effect. You had to be 19 or whatever it was.
Or a year in
college, yep. So
what's the deal with you mortgaging a 34-year-old against a 25? Not
That's
even
weird.
25?
Or at least putting that out there publicly, which just makes him look bad.
And the funny thing is, man, it's coming off a year when that was all the talk all the way up to December.
Yeah.
Remember, the talk didn't stop till after All-Star break about him and Jason Tatum being able to play together.
Yeah.
Supposedly they had the meeting, sat down, and hashed everything out, and they went on a run. You know what I mean? They went to a
He
run.
was the best player.
Yes, he was.
And then
And
they're
most
saying they don't
consistent.
want to move Marcus Smart, but they're willing to put Jaylen Brown's name out there.
That's what I don't understand, man. I guess it's that win now. I will say, when KD is healthy, he's the wild card that flips everything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like when you get him, man, it's kind of like a cheat code if he's healthy. You know what I mean? You're going to get what you get on the offensive end and the defensive end with him when he gets to roam. You know what I'm saying? Especially with another guy that's accepting of that spotlight and that criticism as Jason Tatum would be.
But you don't even. But it's so wild about basketball because that's what I tell people. Like, you better be damn good.
Yeah.
If you're trying to say you number one at your position or you got a kid that's going to college, like, because y'all sport is directly.
Yeah.
Look, the best player, you see him.
Mm-hmm.
He walk on the court or in the gym, you're like, oh, there you go, mama.
Yeah,
That's
ain't
the
no
one they
ducking.
told me about.
Ain't no ducking.
And with basketball, you said KD does that, but let's look at A.J. Brown's situation. Like, even the Titans are like, we'll be all right.
Right.
We drafted the guy. Look at Philly, like, they helped out a little bit.
Right.
But as big as we think A.J. is, it's still like, dude, you got 11 people. You still got to impress.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's 11 of y'all.
Yeah.
Basketball is not the same.
Right.
It's really a one person changes everything sport.
I mean, that's Giannis.
That's Giannis.
Without
That's
question.
that. It's
Without
just
question.
as another example. It's a sport where one guy can affect a lot more.
It gives you what you've been waiting to see for the last 4 years, minus the bubble, potentially out of AD. Like, that's why all the talk is about AD, because what he can do on the offense and defensive end. You
When
know what I'm
he's
saying?
there.
When he's there and healthy. I mean, it's the same effect that Giannis would have. It's like, God, like, how do you not have somebody 6'11", 7 foot that can defend the basket?
Yeah.
There's a mismatch on the offensive end. Doesn't need the ball to score. Like, you know what I mean? Or impact the game. Like, this. Don't forget, this is the guy. Yeah, Jokic. You know what I mean? But it's wild, man. Like, that's the type of world we in with basketball.
Even to transition a little bit, because it's the kickoff of our season. Y'all
let's
get
do
back
it.
now.
Hey, yeah, no, I'm ready. Dude, I've been starving.
Hey, I wanted
texted
to
you
ask
and
that
told
off
you
the
I'm
start.
ready.
I knew we weren't going to talk about it for the whole time.
What you gonna get away from it?
we got Tennessee to talk about.
Yeah, so y'all fed me, y'all spoon fed me, then let's get out here and get it.
We got to give you something. It's been a while. But even with that, though, Jay, we speak about one person. There is that one position in the NFL, the quarterback. And we see Kyler Murray be put under a microscope.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen anything like this in your professional career?
Man, not to that extent.
Where it's none, where it's not weight, where it's not weightlifting, where it's not.
They're calling this clause unprecedented.
Yeah, this is bad. I mean, like, the way the contracts are set up now, what did Kyler Murray sign for? I mean, I know what the
230
money.
and a half.
30
the
with
years.
one.
How many years was it?
I had it pulled
Four,
up.
four or
I
five.
think it's 5.
With the way the contracts are set up now, with the length. If this was a 10-year contract, 8-year contract, I wouldn't have a problem with it.
5. Yep, 5.
So really, like you always say, it's really 4 and
It's
1.
really probably
3.
for him. It's probably 3, maybe a 4.
Yeah. Okay. So with that being the case, that means you're gonna have another opportunity to re-up.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna be accepting if this is less than 8 years that you can put this out there on my name like that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's a dog out publicly.
what? What? That's red flags everywhere.
Yeah. Yes,
like
it
that's
is.
one. I don't study. That's 2. I don't take my craft serious.
Yep.
3. I'm so talented that I can just come on out here and do what I want to for a franchise that's looking to go over the hump.
Man.
And I'm supposed to be the one to get us over the hump. Like,
They're
what?
making you do your job.
No, you can't put that out
And they're
there.
making sure the public knows.
Yeah.
Hey, he's been skating.
Yeah.
We paid him because we know how talented he is, but now he better put in the work.
So you got to take it on from both sides.
Yeah.
From Kyler, that's one side.
Yeah.
Arizona, that's them protecting themselves. Like, hey man, listen, we putting it out there. Y'all know how this kid do. You know what I mean? And in case y'all didn't know, you know what I mean? We paid his guy that was lobbying for him in Kingsbury and said, hey, take care of your man.
Yep.
So I want to know if they have that type of relationship, him and Kingsbury, which I think they do. Did they run this past him?
Yeah.
And him be like, all right, let me talk to him.
Yeah.
Hey, Kyler, man, we gotta put a little stipulation. They're gonna give you money, but you know, you got I mean, you got
he was the middleman that broke it to you. You know, it's like your agent telling you what the team wanted.
Like Plug go rub his back and tell him.
Talking about representing yourself. Yeah. Kyler Murray don't want to represent himself.
He don't want to hear what they saying.
Like, wow, dog, that ain't that, man.
Yeah,
you don't want to do that. And if you, and then he's coming from like, if I know you, Savage,
yeah,
and we going to Jason, we trying to get a deal done. Jason, listen, I want you to get this deal done. You telling me the stipulation for Ramon, and I know him.
Oh,
I'm gonna go to Mon.
I'm
gonna go to Mon. I'm gonna be like, hey, Mon. Listen, you gonna tell me to butter him up? I'm buttering him up. Now, me and Mon been together way before we got on this radio station. Like Kingsbury and them been together way before they've been in the NFL. Yeah. What do you mean? What Mon gonna look at me side-eye a little bit once this come out? Like, wait a minute now. Hold on, let me sit back and think about this for a minute. Me and you been together, worked at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Then we get here and it's working in the league. Why is the stipulation in here for 4 hours a week?
Yeah, man.
Not 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
Each day. That's like 35, 40 minutes, man.
Yeah. Basically what that means
you ain't doing
is
nothing.
We know you're doing nothing.
Like
that's
zero.
exactly what it means.
Don't put that out there on me, man.
Madden is not film study, Kyler.
I'm not biting.
No.
I'm not biting.
And then they started off, what was it, 7-0, 9-0 last year?
8-0, and then barely lost to Aaron Rodgers on Thursday night.
Okay.
So imagine the step that he could take if he actually got into the film.
And I think that's what they want him to try and get. It's like, you can be a Hall of Famer if you put in the work. If not, you're just going to be a dude that was really athletic
likes to run around
never lived up to his potential.
But, Savage, this is what I kind of said earlier, man.
I can't imagine he likes it.
Like, this is like Steph Curry. Like, they took a chance on him. Like, you're the three-point shooter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we allow you to do these types of things, and guess what's happened since him? There's been more shooters.
Yeah.
We see these kids coming out. We're seeing big shoot because of him. For Kyler, and this is one thing I brought up, for the athletic quarterback, no matter what race you are, it kind of ruins it a little bit for them a little bit. I know every case is different. Like, Kyler's just been good. Jay, you mentioned it. Like, he just been that good for this long.
Look, there's some people that, again, it's the same thing as like, you watch your guy in high school, and you're sort of uneducated, but you see it, man, that guy's going to NFL.
Right.
I just know he ends up playing for like some directional school somewhere you never hear him, and you just realize, again, it's so easy to get biased and feel like it's always going to be a certain type of way, and then you hit a level where everybody else is right there. And this league, and you know this better than anybody, Moan, this league figures you out.
And that's why Ben took a lot of heat because of that. He was like, you got 3 years. You got 3 years to figure out who you are as a pro quarterback. And people's like, oh, what do you mean? It's like, give me 3 years of you doing this, and then I'll give you your credit. And truth be told, that's where Josh Allen is. Justin Herbert's going into his 3rd year. We've seen LeBurrow going into 3 years is what you need. But for a guy like Kyler, the undersized, fast, quick guy, athletic quarterback, I guarantee you this, if he crash out, they want to go get another athletic quarterback.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, that's the trend.
Yep.
They're going to go get a stand-up in the pocket guy, probably with a little bit of mobility, but nothing like Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
And that's the part, to me, that sucks the most, because these quarterbacks now, coming out of high school, very athletic.
Yeah.
I'm talking about all of them are.
Everybody.
The kid from Arch is athletic.
Yep.
The kid, Nico, athletic.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, the kid from Martin is athletic. Like, Simpson. Like, they're all out there like this. And Kyler, you're making it hard for college or NFL teams to be like, this can work in the NFL. Because that's the biggest thing. The kids in high schools are taught this offense, and they're doing it in college. Heupel's doing it.
Right.
Okay, and now you have a Hendon Hooker coming out next year, not as athletic as Kyler, but it's like, well, he's able to move around in that type of offense, and you're making it bad for us.
And here's the other thing this kind of says. You guys correct me if I'm wrong, but it kind of says, right now, so far, you're not very coachable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a problem. In terms of being a leader on the field, you need to be able to coach up your guys, but you need to be coachable. We need to be able to work with you. You need to be able to see what we're seeing from the sidelines and not just rely, as that quote that Schaefer had put in that I read from him earlier. He said this in December, Slay. He said, I think I was blessed with the cognitive skills to just go out there and just see it before it happens. I'm not one of those guys that's going to sit there and kill myself watching film. I don't sit there for 24 hours and break down this team and that team and watch every game because in my head, I see so much. To me, the immaturity right there is arrogance.
Yeah.
And that's a red flag.
And that's what they jumped out to correct. Like, it's just the way you thinking, and everybody knows, man, once you get to they ask what separates guys that are really good and to pros.
Yep.
And to me, it's most definitely the confidence and the mental aspect of it. Like, it's so many people that can jump high. There's so many people that can run fast, but how do you mentally grasp it? And that's what they're asking them. Like, dude, mentally, you're not there. And that's a red flag, and we can't stand for that. Not to give you this big old bankroll, and maybe if we can just get you 4 hours out of the week to do it, it become instinctive and second nature. But this is what I asked Babs yesterday. What if he's coming to the complex at 7 o'clock a.m.?
Yeah.
And he's leaving at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
Which we know he has not been.
Which we know he is. Yeah. But what if that's the case and they want him to watch 4 hours outside of the complex? Is he one of the guys that, hey, man, when I leave the complex, it's there. I done did everything I'm supposed to. When I go home, that's my time.
Work is work.
You know what I'm saying?
That ain't
we done
it,
seen a couple.
Chief.
That ain't it. Especially at that spot.
Yep.
You can't get away with that.
And it's so much, like you said, Jay, to the mental part of the game. Like, it'll be kids, whether I've done a camp or at Beach High School, messing around with the kids and stuff like that, the football team. They'll just, a kid will come up, hey, let me get a set. And I laugh.
Yeah.
I laugh at them because I'm like, you're younger. You're probably quick right now. You're limber as hell. Like, all of this lines up in your favor.
Right.
Man, I actually did it at a speaking event one day. I had on some loafers, and this kid tried to get in front of me. And I was like, go ahead, man. Let me see you stand. I got down in my stance, and I didn't even move. I was like, go when you're ready. And I just grabbed him. I'm like,
Where you going?
dog.
Where you going, dog?
I do this. Like, it's second nature to me because I've seen it so much. I repeated it. I've watched it. I'm looking at his stance, and he don't even recognize this kid leaning. He can't go left. Like, I knew he got to go right. So I just snatched him up right. It's so many things you see on film, Jay, to where you're like, it looks automatic, but the repetition of viewing it on tape isn't what you think. Like, you got to see it over and over and over. Like I told you earlier about Troy. Like, he was very instinctive. I'm talking about one of the highest. The stories, he'd tell, Ryan, just cover me.
Yeah.
It was like, Troy, where you going? And it's covered too. It's like, just cover me. And he going to make a play at the line of scrimmage because he's watched it on film probably 50 times throughout the week.
Right.
Like, that's the separator between guys like, man, what's the difference between the NFL and college? It's that. It's the film.
It's almost like they're the parent. Like, one of the reasons I can write is because Dad was tough on me growing up on my essays. He would redline it worse than the teachers would. To the extent that they thought he wrote my papers for me.
Like, what's going on here?
And it wasn't that, but it's almost like the Cardinals are the parents, and they're like, it drives us nuts that you keep making careless mistakes on your math test because you're too smart for this.
Right.
And in this case, it's like you're too daggone athletic
Man.
to let this go by and be 60% of what you can be. And this is an organization. Boy, it's been low with the quarterback.
Right.
We talk about the Titans, but I mean, Warner was there
Kurt.
for a little while.
That was stop it then.
And he was only there for 5. He was only there for 5 years. Carson Palmer was there for a while. Jake Plummer.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, it's a wrap.
That's it.
Hey, it's at that position, dog, and it's such a quick mental, just make a decision like spot too.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not seeing all of it, something wrong with you.
That's
you know
why
what I'm saying?
That's why the detail is so important.
And
like, it's a lot of things going on in your head, and you're seeing a lot of things. But what about the wrinkles?
Yeah.
You know,
and if you haven't watched film, I know they've watched you all week, Kyler.
Mm-hmm.
Bullock said this last week because I asked him about Peyton Manning. I told you this earlier, Mon, that I think it was Blaine, but other people have joked. The Titans that I've been around, they were just like, hey, man, there were 2 playbooks. There was the AFC and there was Peyton Manning. It's like when Peyton came in, it was a different playbook. And Bullock was just kind of like, not really. He goes, I knew everything he was going to do. They didn't surprise us one time. He goes, and he said, you got to understand, I studied.
Yeah.
And when I saw the Kyler thing, I'm like, dude, Bullock's one of the top 5 Titans of all time. He was a leader. He was a pro,
a playmaker.
He made every play. He changed everything at the line. He talked about how he called out Jim Schwartz for putting a rookie corner in a wrong spot on the field and leaving him. And he even said, he was peeing on himself, which gave us the opportunity to play the obvious.
Down my leg.
There it is.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff. It's like, dude, imagine if Kyler's athleticism could marry like the motivation and the drive.
It's a separator
of Keith Bulluck.
Dog, like
and what that could be.
Rookie D linemen that are just peeing fire, okay? Just peeing it all the time. I just watch and just laugh. Like all that energy you got, my boy.
Yeah,
and I got you right here. Jay, this is before the play even started. Like, that's what the tape does for you. And I ain't realized, like, basketball players, y'all watch that. Y'all see everything. Like,
you can see it from watching games, and that's how you know the difference, man. So when we can watch a game and break it down, and then imagine that breakdown when you're sitting there having a conversation to going to watch film where you running it back 15 times.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, like, it's like, I got it.
Yeah.
Like, we used to come, we gonna get out of here. But I used to get it, dude, to the point where I told Babs this. When it came to watching film as a professional, like, I didn't have nothing to do. Dude, I with a family and everything.
Like 4 months.
But this is it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going home playing the game and turning the game off and watching the game.
Yeah.
Like this is what I'm sending coaches clips to them saying, hey man, dude, I think we need to watch this right here, man. You see when the big man come up and do this and boom bam bill, you know what I mean? And then when we get in the game, I'm caught as soon as I see the point guard, he called the play, I'm calling the play.
Yep.
So everything. So the next time we play them, we got all the calls. They better switch all their calls up because I'm calling them out. That's the game. That's the mental part of it.
Red said the most memorable thing you can remember about the Titans era Bullock played in was how often those red gloves were telling people and moving them around before the snap because he knew every single time. By the way, tighten up. Jacari's in the chat right now says they're telling Murray, you're a dude playing the dude disguised as another dude.
Playing the dude disguised as another dude.
We'll come back more with Slade, J. Martin Ramon. We'll give you one more chance to win SummerSlam tickets to hang with us when we come back here on The Zone. The original SummerSlam music bringing us back, 88 to 90. Right now is your chance to win a pair of tickets to hang out with us live at Nissan Stadium Saturday for SummerSlam. 615-737-1045. There'll be more opportunities throughout the week during our show, but those are going to be trivia. This is the last chance you get it easy where you can just get in as being the fifth caller to Jonathan Schaefer right now. 615-737-1045. Tomorrow on the program, Paul Heyman.
Yo.
And then Seth freaking Rollins on Thursday. We're excited.
And Nardo on Saturday. Nardo coming in.
Damn fool.
Yeah, he's coming in too.
Hey, man, this man right here behind the glass, man, something wrong with him, man. Man, I was calling over and over trying to win the tickets. This man about, man, the phone just been busy.
You're not eligible.
Why not?
I mean, we can get you one,
but I ain't on the show.
Yeah, but
that's a hell of a point. You got a point. The devil's in the detail right there,
I'm just
Jay.
saying, I ain't on the show.
Yeah, but you work for the company.
I mean, to an extent.
There's rules.
To an extent.
I did some training a couple weeks ago in a video. I don't think we're able to.
I'm an independent contractor.
No, your contract, actually, you have a contract.
It's signed.
It says
you're very much not an independent contractor.
I'm just trying to figure out, man, why I couldn't get through the line, man.
You keep calling him the man behind the glass.
Yeah, dude behind the glass, man. I acting silly like that.
That's disrespectful, and I love it.
And me hot.
I know you.
I called 4 times.
Did you?
Yep.
And he dogged you out.
Yep. I think he hung up on me one time.
That's tough.
So I can read this to you now that we were talking about it a little bit during the break. All right, so James became a billionaire. LeBron became a billionaire last month. First time in NBA history an active player has earned the title. Jordan got it after he was done. Of course, his salary was nothing.
No.
Right.
Everything was through the obvious. James, at 37, the pinnacle of longevity, has earned $387 million in NBA salary over 19 seasons.
That's it.
Which you would thought would have been more.
Yeah.
You would have thought that. Yeah. All right, so this is just mind-boggling. A player picked in last month's draft could easily get to $1 billion in career earnings by signing max contracts at every opportunity. Paolo Banchero signed a rookie deal paying $50 million over the first 4 years. So put that in the bucket. Assuming the salary cap grows by 5% a year, which is it's going to do more than that.
Right, without question.
All right, his next contracts will look like this. 5-year, $258 million rookie extension after his third year.
That's $308.
That won't kick in until after his fourth. It would pay him $144 over the first 3 of his deal, when he would be eligible for a $166 million extension for the next 3 years. Total there, $310 million. That would take him to 2032 when using conservative salary cap estimates. Now he's 29 years old.
In this prime.
He could sign a 5-year, $403 million deal.
$700 million.
Then a 3-year, $287 million deal could be waiting after that contract runs out, which makes $1.05 billion in salaries alone on 3 deals.
Lord, have mercy. And see, guess what? I love that part of it, but the more intriguing part is what becomes the minimum now. What is the minimum? Because it got to be close to $1 million now. When I came out, I think it was $535 or something like that. It got to be close to a minimum salary. The 14th, 15th man on the bench get $1 million.
Let me ask you this before we got to close out. Was J.R. Smith wrong in saying Lillard was going to rot in Portland because he won't go anywhere?
I mean, if you
depends on what you mean by rot.
If you
by not winning,
he's happy, but he's going to probably end his career without a title.
And that's the thing, and it's tough, man, because you got to put so many pieces around them in Portland, and then you in the West. It's he ain't wrong.
It's just hard words.
Yeah, that was a little harsh on him, man. It ain't like he ain't trying,
and he killing it too.
Yeah, he always has.
Yeah.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, without question, he's gonna be there.
Yeah.
Like they got some young talent though, and Simons I expect to do some good things. He signed 4-year, $100 million. This is a guy that didn't start.
We actually got through that segment and a half without talking about Jeremy Pruitt's wife.
Oh. Hey man, guess what? Shout out to Casey. Holding it down, you know what I mean? Ride or die.
Find you somebody who loves you.
Yeah, you got to.
Compliance, baby. Casey loves Jeremy Pruitt.
Compliance, Casey.
You like that, don't you?
Anytime you can close your eyes and press the gas and tell her grab the wheel and you trust it, Y'all all right?
As usual, we just banter until the music fades us out. Buck Reising is next.
That's right.
Titans presser at 11:30.
Remember, your Twitter fingers and your mic and your McDonald's bags are always hot.
I was told that was a lie.
It is to some people.
It was food, not money.
I used to get free 20-piece nuggets.
Fulmer was giving out crystals.
Put that on it.
Piss down my leg.